I hope he got the death penalty.
I actually am not 100% sure.
Hitler?
No.
Like, I don't know if y'all ever seen this before. I'm sure y'all have seen safety videos before, but this one is you're good. This one is like fucking out there because just of how like realistic. I say realistic, like it's not realistic like 3D animation, but like how detailed the animation. Y'all will see it. You'll see. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Like the first one was kind of funny. The rest of them just get kind of real. Ooh.
Always remember safety first.
It's just
Bruh.
oh, right?
Ouch.
This dude gets fucking rough.
Oh.
Apparently this one's
I've
real.
seen this one
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
That happens.
Yeah, people in the comments are talking about this one too.
Oh.
Ooh.
I do think these are all based off of.
That one,
Wait, where'd the
that
force
was a little
come
bit
from?
correct.
I think these are all based off of real incidents.
Yeah, I think all of these are based off real.
Hello?
Oh, he tried to jump.
Oh.
He tried to hop a gap real quick and slipped.
It's fucking slipped.
Okay, the animation didn't quite do that one.
It from the other angle, it made a lot more sense what he was jumping
I've
to.
seen.
Yeah, there's like a
Oh, he
opening was
slipped.
jumping
Okay,
into.
I get it. I get it. Okay. Interesting.
Hold on, I do want to see the Zayna Bear. This would like this girl is so fucking funny.
Oh yeah, no.
She's like the goofiest motherfucker I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking love her shit. Yeah, no, like I've seen a lot of like safety precaution shit. I've never seen a video like just straight up animate like the ways people have died.
Mm-hmm.
Get crunched.
Get crunched. Like there, because if you ever worked in, I don't think any of y'all have ever like worked in this. You might have had some of this working landscaping, but I don't know like how.
Probably not a ton of it. Most of what we did was pretty small scale.
Right.
Although we were doing some sketchy shit that if it went sideways, could have
Like things-
resulted in-
Right, but
Like,
I imagine you
lifting
guys
up a
were
rock.
you guys didn't have like OSHA auditors and shit come through on a constant, right? So with working with like
Redacted.
and like when I was working with autonomous vehicles, right? We obviously is one of those kind of it just that as an industry is like just OSHA regulations and like there's all types of bullshit that goes on. One of the first things that was told to me was just like some of the horror stories of what happens with an autonomous vehicle and just like how stupidity creates tragedy. Because if you don't know, like with the autonomous vehicles that we worked with at that company, I don't know if I should be saying like their name. It doesn't matter.
Beep it.
I'll bleep it later. Who cares? With autonomous vehicles, we're not talking like Tesla AI, right? We're not talking AI. We're not talking like they're making decisions on the fly dynamically, right? They were on a set path. They were computerized, the virtual map. They knew the route they needed to go. Any decision making, it didn't really even make decisions. It just got instructions and went to go do those instructions. It had very rudimentary decision making in some of them. So stuff like it would have like a sensor camera that when the prongs went up to go pick up a pallet, it would scan the area. And if it was slightly off, it could some of them had like enough detection that it could tell like the opening in the pallet where the forks are going to go. And if that was off, it could shift its forks over to make sure it like missed it, right?
Like a video game AI.
Kind of like a video game AI. Yeah. I would happen to say the video game AI is even smarter than what these things were. They were very rudimentary.
Yeah, because video game AI can just get information from the world.
Right. I guess video game AI, like Mario 64 era video game AI. Just enough to like detect when the player's around and to spin and go towards it and then do a thing once it gets there. Like that type of shit, right? But because like it's autonomous and you're gonna have like fucking anywhere from like 5 to like 20 of these things in an area, and obviously a lot of factories had like a lot of human crossover interaction with the machines. Like there's a ton of fucking safety precautions and measures that are put in place with these things, right?
Mhm.
There's the stories that were told to me, like when I first started working there, was of stuff of like any mechanic with like who knows just how vehicles work and enough time to like read the manuals that we provide to them, like they could easily disable a lot of that shit. It does not take a lot to disable some of it and get it running again. If you just know how to rewire shit,
Mhm.
you could bypass a lot of that stuff. And I was told stories of times where that happened, and you had stuff like people straight up having like one of their legs cut off by a fork. And when I say a fork, we're talking like the forks of a forklift.
They're quite blunt.
They're really blunt, aren't they?
They're like, when I say blunt, they're like
at the thinnest, like an inch.
Yeah.
At the thinnest.
Yeah, but it also don't surprise me that cut is a very generous term to what that would do to your leg.
No, it crushes an inch long area
Crush and
of it
rip.
and
Yeah.
just rips through it. People that have been like, so there's the fork end and then there's the front end, which is a lot more flat, a lot more box-like, and people that have been like, I was told a story of a guy who got pretty much had that just crush him into a cinder block wall.
Yikes.
And luckily someone was able to stop it before it crushed him to death. But getting the thing to move was the hard bit because they just had to cut the power to it because someone had overridden all of it. So that the second you try to power it on again, it's going to attempt to start moving. But now this dude is crushed by a 10,000 kilogram machine. And
Golly.
the only way to get him free was to someone else to go get a forklift to lift it up under its lift points and kind of like just shimmy it away from the wall.
Did this happen at the company
Drink.
you worked?
This happened with one of the machines we had. I don't remember exactly what company it was at.
Oh, okay.
They didn't actually. I didn't really ask.
But it was one of
It was one of our machines. It was one of their machines. Yeah.
okay.
That did it. And the thing is, though, is you have to lift up the machine first. And when you're crushed between that machine and a rough cinder block wall,
Mhm.
you get lifted up with it and just kind of ground against the wall. Like I think he was fine.
Look,
but
kids had to know how the sausage is made.
kids gotta find out. If you didn't know, that's
Now you know.
how sausage is made.
Slowest road rash ever.
Pretty much, yeah. Like just other stupid shit people have done. There was one. So one of the last projects I worked on for that company, like it was such a big it was such like a high profile project because it was the first time that particular country was even allowing autonomy to happen again. Or at least something like that. Because like 15 or 20 years prior, they were trying out autonomous vehicles and some stupid motherfucker decide, well, I'm not even gonna call him stupid. It happens where like a machine will get stuck in some process. Like and this facility kind of fucking sucked and all of them do up where I was. That was like the biggest wind up. Bless you.
Thanks for keeping it discreet. Now we're all going to draw attention to it.
Yes. But machines get stuck for odd reasons, especially in like super cramped spaces, which these facilities are. And when that happens, a handler usually has to go figure out what's going wrong, clear it to get the vehicle back to move it again, right? This particular time, the machine is trying to push a box onto a rail that it should have been empty. Someone in inventory fucked up, that was sending a pallet to the wrong location, types of shit like that. The vehicle can at least detect when it's pushing against something, and it will throw an error and go, hey, I'm pushing against something. Someone can figure this out. Whoever went to go figure that out, instead of going, maybe this shouldn't be happening, they're like, I'll just force it in, right? So they end up pushing so hard against, And when I say a rail, right, like, so there's certain types of warehouse storage where what you essentially do is there's a long, maybe like 5-6 pallet long rail where it's slightly inclined, so you set it on one end and gravity just kind of pulls it down across like the rollers, right? So instead of going, maybe this is not, maybe I should just send this off somewhere else because this obviously doesn't have space, I'm just gonna force it. And he forces it until he pushes a pallet on the other side off. And I believe it was, I don't know if I can say this and not get in trouble. I'm not super certain because they were bottles of glass salsa. A pallet size of glass jars of salsa. Meaning this was like 2,300 to 2,500 pounds falling from a height of like 20 some odd feet onto a person. Yeah, and so that kicked off a ton of bullshit that basically the company ended up just shelving like any autonomy in the warehouse for a while. The going theory being because if they needed something to blame, and the robots are easier to blame because the robots aren't gonna fucking sue for libel or some shit. And they had already paid for it, not much you can do about it, and they didn't want to have to go through. If we were thinking if they actually put blame on the employee, that would have opened them up to being sued by the other employee's family or some shit. And that's they wanted to try to avoid that as best they could, so they could just blame it on the robots. But I don't know.
I don't
know if that actually stops it or not. But
the way our very convenient system works, to my knowledge, is wouldn't it have? Well, if it was in another country, it might be different. But at least in the U.S., I think if you put the blame on the employee, then the family would have to go after the employee successfully, legally put the blame on the employee.
Right.
And the family of the bereaved would have to go after the employee to seek any kind of.
But if that's the robot's fault,
then it would be the company, I think.
You would think it would be the company. I don't know. I have no idea.
Or maybe that would end up putting it on the robot production company.
Possible. I don't know. Like, all I know is that bad shit happened, and it took them like 15 years to get over it. I say get over it. That sounds very dismissive. But it took 15 years for us to get back in there. Only for one of the last things to almost happen while I was there was one of our machines almost pushed another pallet off.
No.
But once again, wasn't the machine's fault. Wasn't our fault either. They were fucking rushing us to get shit done because they kept over-promising shit. I have told this story a couple times to you guys, I'm fairly certain, but that project is the reason I left that company. I was like, I can't do this anymore. It was the fucking dumbest shit. And I'm sure I'll get into a rant about it, but probably not tonight. Mostly because if y'all can't tell, I'm a little sick. Well, he is too. All because of this bitch.
I was sick.
Yeah, you came back and gave it all to us, so now I'm fucking stuffy nosed and shit.
Your voice is all. Your voice is all.
My voice.
It was gonna make its way back anyway, so I work out with what's her face?
Yeah.
All the time.
I'm sure she'll love you referring to her as what's her face.
Yeah.
Is she just perpetually sick?
No, it was gonna get around to
it.
it.
Came from that household.
It came from the house.
They're just perpetually sick.
No. It came from that sickness was gonna make its way to us, is what I'm saying.
Eventually.
It was like whether it was direct route from that house straight to here or a little more the scenic route of that house to some gym somewhere to here. It was probably going to wind its way up here somehow.
I thought you were saying like you're going to keep going.
It did sound like that a little bit.
Keep getting sick.
It did sound like that a little bit.
Continue to bring the sickness here.
That's not what I was saying at all.
Okay.
And I don't think what I was insinuating was ever even anywhere
what
close.
You insinuated sounded like it was an inevitability.
It was, that's what I'm saying. It wasn't an inevitability.
You made it sound like getting sick from that house was inevitable no matter what the circumstance.
And it was going to continue to happen.
It was just going to keep happening. But I get it. We get it. We get it.
We get it now.
We get it. We're all sick. All right.
You.
we all have fucking weird scratchy throats and other bullshit. But
we're not sick of you guys, our listeners, our watchers.
Well, that directly contradicts what Fluffy just said.
Yeah.
Oh, you were literally looking at them when you said that. Forget what he was saying. We love you guys. We're never gonna get sick of you guys. Yeah.
I feel so dismissed.
Okay, you feel dismissed, but like, who did you think he was referring to when he said of you?
I don't know, like us.
Not fair. It was like, there's a sadness in that somewhere.
You were like, oh.
Well, fuck you anyway. Oh man.
Wait, I don't want to backtrack it. Well, it's a big backtrack, but what kind of sketchy shit did happen at Fluff's work?
Oh, well, we were moving big rocks to sketchy places.
Oh yeah.
And so when you don't have
Is
the
it
proper
euphemism?
equipment, or sometimes when you even do what?
Is it euphemism for cocaine?
No.
Oh.
Fortunately not.
That's less fun.
It's quite literally, like a two. So if you don't know, if you've never worked with rocks before, rocks get very heavy very quickly. All right. So a rock that's about this big,
Isn't that a
this
boulder?
thick, which we would call
It's not a boulder.
we would call
a
we would
rock.
call a step rock. It's very commonly used for steps. So
What are you doing, Step Rock?
Oh no, Step Rock.
oh no,
I'm
I'm
stuck.
stuck in the washing machine, Step Rock.
And so they have these very specialized like clamps that you're supposed to use that like can lift these things up. When I first started, we didn't have those, and even if you do have those, if something goes wrong with those, you would just have a 2-ton rock that goes boom, right? And so we were tying them up
Some would say
with tie down straps and like lifting them into an air with a pallet jet with a bobcat, which does not have I'm not talking about like one of these. I'm talking about like a fancy heavy duty forklift.
I was gonna say it's one of the ones with like the extra arm that like it's like weirdly.
It looks like it would have a shovel on it, but it's got forks.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
like the
yeah,
little
yeah.
white
You can put a
ones.
shovel on it. You can put forks on it. It can
Yeah,
do
yeah,
like
yeah.
whatever the fuck you need it to. If you want to get fancy, you can.
It's a bit of machinery
attach-
that's definitely strong enough for the job, but it's not designed for this job.
Yeah,
Dang, your
Yeah.
feline can do that? That's wild.
Shut the fuck up.
yeah. We every time we'd have to go out and catch a new one.
We call that pussy power.
I don't have any cover to add to that.
Y'all don't know Prince well enough to get it.
Dang.
That is true.
I need to play that for y'all later.
But the
My black heart continues to go white. Continue.
I wouldn't say that.
but yeah, until you had those things in position, we were dangling those there. That could have gone
Exactly like that one little clip.
Yeah,
The
where it
fucking
went.
still bar. Jesus.
Because like if one strap gives out and then it tips and you're
Oh,
off to the
immediately
side,
just
you got hands on
pendulums.
it. Like you're not stopping it.
You might like to believe that you are. Everyone likes to believe that they're going to be a fucking just awaken their latent Kryptonian powers.
Go Goku on everything.
Go Goku on fucking everything.
Nobody gets
instinct.
paid enough
Come Saitama.
to get crunched like that.
Or you turn into sausage.
And then you just turn into
So
sausage.
you turn into sausage.
And
You know,
realize,
if that's how I went out, as long as I made my family smile.
oh Jesus.
Yeah, they're definitely going to
I,
smile after seeing sausage everywhere.
Oh boy, our son's dead, but at least we got dinner.
Ma'am, step away from the body, ma'am.
Ma'am?
We must protect the sausage.
We can't let
Scraping
must
anything go
preserve
to
it.
waste.
Scraping them into a fucking skillet.
Look, casing.
Breakfast tomorrow's gonna be fire.
You know, now that I think about it, we really are wasteful as a society. Just perfectly good meat going to waste.
And it occupies so much land.
Honestly, it really do. We could save on cost of caskets. That's just trees for no reason. All that land taken up in gray. Well, honestly, I should run for president.
All right, Jeffrey Dahmer.
You know, look,
I didn't say we prey on them first. I'm just
I'm
saying
pro eating bugs.
He was only
pro-
half right.
I was only half right.
They died of natural causes. they're not gonna use it.
Yeah. He doesn't care anymore.
What do we do when they donate their bodies to science? We just let them rot in a field, but then take notes. Huh? We should be cooking them up and eating them. You know how good the face tastes? I like
The face specifically.
Hey, look, I've sucked face in my time, and honestly, it's pretty great. So
right off the bone.
imagine if you deep fry.
I like my humans boned in. Okay. Boned in. Okay. That's the one thing I won't eat boneless.
I like my humans bone in and blue.
I like my humans boning me.
What you're saying is you definitely don't want a meatless.
I'd say that.
He'll take it either way. Don't worry.
Whatever gets the job done. Whatever gets my pussy wet. Skeletor can get it. That's all I'm saying. Yeah.
Until the next time.
Till we meet again.
Until we meet again.
Oh, this show has gone
That's
off.
my favorite part about him is little scamper.
It is really fucking funny. It's really fucking hilarious.
Shit.
Oh, so,
I watched
Hey,
fuck.
if you want to sponsor
Injury, the bad injury,
big
what is
fan
it
of
called?
products.
What are we catastrophic injury thing where
Don't worry about it.
I saw that.
you slut.
Yeah, well,
I don't know what was happening, but
don't worry about it.
I saw that.
It's okay.
I've been violated.
Look, we're trying to put shit in place for the fucking future. Okay.
Where it was on a fucking oil rig. I don't even know what happened. So now I can't even giggle with you, and I just feel so left out.
It's okay. You don't have to.
He was
worry about
manifesting our
it.
sponsor.
Yes. Hey, yo, look what that out there too.
And so like the go get
Remember before
it was on an oil rig, and there was this spring on the ground that was coiled up
Mhm.
for whatever reason, and it caught on a guy's shoe as it was coming undone, and he just went bong 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 on like this metal rail and just got scrunched.
He was. I assume he's not with us anymore.
He basically just like, you know. You ever see those like flapper toys that go like? You ever
Like the ones
stuck-
where you like rip them and they fly?
Did you
or-
ride bikes as kids?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you ever want to make your bike sound like a motorbike? So you,
So you put a spokes
Yeah.
yeah,
card.
you, like a playing card in the spokes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like that's what happened to his noggin.
Dang.
Yeah.
Ooh. Why did you watch these?
Look, Attorney Tom has some good content.
All right,
Oh.
sure. Holy balls, man! I somehow got like away from that. I never really was super like into like the gory shit, like of the internet.
Oh, this was the. I've not seen this with my own eyes. This was told to me.
Oh.
Oh, okay, okay.
described. Fortunately for my soul.
Well, it's like the amount of people that saw the that like immediately knew the Lathe video that it was talking about,
Well, that's something that sticks.
right? I go back to it. Is it right here? Nope, that's not the one. How do I
But
get
you
back to the video?
crushed like that? Well, you clicked on what's her face.
I really did. I can just go here.
I mean, it's a
But why couldn't you back out of it? That's weird.
Yeah, I don't know what order that was going. I probably should have scrolled up. That was probably the issue. But yes, like the amount of people that like just immediately knew the Lathe video was like kind of crazy. I turned that all the way down. I don't know why it's still playing noise. Like, yeah, like I saw the real video of the Lathe. Like that was a real big thing for a while, especially like
Oh, the real video of the laser machine incident?
like just the amount of like gore videos that people see. Like came across the TikTok earlier, people talking like beheading videos and shit. And it's like it was something I was like, you know what? Even at like 15, I was like, I'm not edgy enough for this. I'm good. I don't need to know what this kind of shit is like.
That's something
Yeah.
I need to see.
Right.
Some of this reminds me of like my first experience and realization that our 50-50 existed.
Yeah. Oh my God. I was just about to bring that up actually. Like
That was wild. I think it was one of you guys who told me about it.
Uh-huh.
And then I went, it was like years ago.
yeah.
And I went that night and I was like, okay, how bad could they actually be? Like you were telling me about it and I was like, okay, that sounds pretty gory or whatever, pretty disturbing, but you know, it's fine, you know?
Right.
You see like puppies
It's
or
Reddit, right?
Yeah.
well, that's the thing. I
Bad.
also wasn't as familiar with Reddit. Like I'm only really just now getting into Reddit. Believe it or not.
Really?
Call me a newbie, call me a what? I don't know. Is there a term for
Virgin.
yeah,
Yeah.
Reddit virgin. Yeah, there we go.
Probably the best.
But back then it was like, okay, R50-50, here we go. And it was like puppies or, you know, leeches leeching off of a dead corpse in a bathtub. And it's like, oh,
Okay.
I don't know who would even have that picture and why. So it's got to be puppy.
Nope.
It's not puppy.
Nope. It is actually like that was the fun part of like, what are the odds this video like that was the thing because I was on it very briefly too. And I got into it because Markiplier did like I want to say it was Markiplier who did 50-50 challenges back in like 2013, 2014, something like that.
Mhm.
And some YouTuber was doing 50-50 or /50-50. And I would watch and I'm like, there's no way that's actually like as bad as they make it sound. Or some things were like, that's so specific. I don't believe that actually exists.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked through some of them for a while. I luckily never came across anything like crazy, gruesome or anything. Like the worst I would see was stuff like blue waffle or like just like diseased body parts and shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some of like deformed children at birth and shit. And that was like I saw one of those and it was like a child born with some kind of disorder that just makes them look like alien. And I was like,
Progeria?
Say it again?
Progeria?
It might have been.
They're like very large head.
That one
Small
happened.
face feature.
That one happened. It wasn't that one. It was another one. It was like a weird like skin disease and just looked agonizing for the child. And I saw that and I was like, that's it. That's enough. I don't like why? Like, what am I doing here? Like,
Yeah. Most gruesome video on the internet I've seen is one where like a guy beats a dog to death with a baseball bat.
fuck that guy.
Yeah. That one sucks.
That I can imagine. I can imagine it would for you. I can imagine it would for anybody, but especially for you. Like, was this before or after?
This is way before. This is years ago.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, before or after you got Gizmo.
Oh, this was after I got Gizmo.
Oh, okay.
I wish my bot die.
Which it would have been even worse.
Mm.
Did you have other dogs growing up?
Technically, we had one other named Rueben, but I never really cared for her.
Fair enough.
But the way she died was not great. It
Mm,
wasn't good. But yeah.
that's unfortunate. All right. Well, that whole aside, we are, safety shit is like wild. If you ever worked in a factory or worked with like any kind of machinery, like I'm sure there's fucking stories abound that kind of stuff. If anybody watching this, you've ever like, if you have any of those kind of stories from your time working at that stuff, we would love to. Well, I don't know if love is the word, but I would. It's fun hearing like the crazy shit that happens in like factory and warehouse setting.
We would be interested to hear your
hearing
story.
that. Shit, we might even like read them off one day.
I'll
That
take
comes up.
deep sexual
Yeah.
pleasure in the death of your acquaintances. Maybe I shouldn't have said that.
You really shouldn't have. But here we are.
He's trying to get a taste for murder, so
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. We keep
Speaking
forgetting
of-
that's one of your
Speaking of a
goals.
taste for murder, like
Ongoing character arc that I definitely feel comfortable perpetuating.
the unaccomplished serial killer. It's just a whole comedy, a whole fucking comedy slice of life of someone who wants to be a serial killer, just not able to make it happen. All right, yeah, toy animation. We got a new story for you.
There it is.
But anywho,
kill somebody tomorrow.
Today's my day off.
today's my day off. Oh
Mr.
fuck.
Serial killer's day off.
That's basically what Mr. Villain's Day Off is.
Yeah.
He's just genocidal
Yeah.
and just not great at it, or is really good at it. I'm
I was
not
like-
certain.
I was like,
They
maybe
don't really
he's
make
so
it
good at
clear.
it that he can take days off because he was so productive.
But his whole job is to eradicate the human population on Earth, and he has not managed to do that yet.
Well, you know, he's making plans. You know, like maybe he's got like a whole like months long like plan, and it's like, okay, today I'm just gonna focus on you know, talking to some commanders and organizing a couple fleets and making sure that they're cool and that they're practicing and exercising and preparing. You know.
So what's his body count, do you think? I mean, his kill count.
Well,
That
Those are
character,
two different questions.
very different questions. To the first one, that man is aggressively asexual.
Mhm.
That man doesn't have a romantic or sexual bone in his body.
But he's hot.
He is hot. Unfortunate.
Oh,
There's
Maybe
plenty
if
of
he
hot.
found a panda that was anthropomorphized and wanted to be in his life, he would be willing to try some stuff. But other than that, I don't think he's capable of caring for another being in that way.
Yeah,
yeah.
he is very nurturing. As far as kill count, I don't know. It doesn't seem like he's managed to kill anybody yet.
It doesn't
100,000.
seem like it. It seems like that would spoil the character.
If you just found out that he, was like helped out in the Holocaust.
Would that
Laid
spoil the
waste
character?
to like.
Would
city-
the genocidal alien monster from outer space, hell bent on eradicating humanity, finding out he actually managed to kill somebody, spoil his character?
Yeah,
Is this his first planet?
because then you'd have to reckon with
Yeah,
that
his whole
fact.
thing is that he's an alien from outer space that's supposed to be destroying Earth.
Okay, so this is his only planet that he's tried to conquer so far.
Oh, that's a
Assumedly.
great
I don't
point.
know.
Because
We
it's
don't know
like
how he got in this position. Maybe he got in this position by genociding other planets.
Because he's
Right.
powerful as fuck, clearly. He's a
Yeah.
general.
like
Maybe he's
this
been
is
out
like,
here ready player wanting, just like
Yeah, like maybe this is the only planet that he actually found something he somewhat cares about, which is why he's like so hesitant.
It seems like it. That seems like the story so far.
Yeah.
Who knows? Well, yes, maybe we'll find out. We never watched. No, I saw a clip from the new episode, and it's gonna be fucking great when we watch that this week. Which, by the way, we didn't watch Solo Leveling on Sunday.
no, we didn't.
That is okay though. Anyway,
I did.
we know you did. You bitch.
Stinky.
I'm waiting
man.
until the English dub catches up to where I'm at, which is just this next week. The English dub will release the new episode that I haven't watched yet.
Solo Leveling
It's like, yeah,
Hmm.
which is like, I think probably the same episode that you guys haven't watched.
should
yet.
be.
I haven't watched
It came out on Saturday.
Oh yeah, that's right. It comes out. Anywho, you went to jury duty, or tried to.
Yes.
The fuck happened with that?
So this is my second time getting called. And the first time was only like 4 or 5 years ago. It wasn't too terribly long ago. And what happened that last time was we, went in, I called in and I had to go all the way in. And, about 100, 200 people sitting in a room. We sat there for about an hour and they dismissed us. Every single one of us. They were like, oh, everybody go home. Y'all not needed. I didn't remember much about the process then because nothing was really explained. And I didn't try to look up anything about what exactly was going on.
Mhm.
But this time around, they had stuff a lot more, or either they had a lot of stuff more organized, or I was just more cognizant of what was happening.
I would imagine the latter.
Yeah. But I don't remember them having videos that played telling us like all the stuff that was happening, everything that this meant, jury duty specifically. And,
There's a good chance that stuff was created because of COVID, and now it's just easy to just keep using it now,
good point. I wouldn't be surprised.
right?
Because when I got there, it was pretty much the same as last time. About 200 of us in the room. And then they just played a few videos that
Mhm.
explained a lot, which was really nice, which was good. I understood a lot more about why I was there and what was happening.
Could you
But-
imagine being sentenced to life in prison over Zoom?
That would it would already. Okay. Firstly, you don't want to get sent to life in prison. Don't do crims.
Don't do crims.
Don't do crims.
Well, you could be a victim of the system.
You could be a victim of the system. That is absolutely absurd.
Just don't do crims.
But don't do crims still. But
unless the correct crims.
Correct.
there are correct crimes. We're not going to tell you which ones they are or what to do. Just, you know them when you see them.
Just know that I'm sometimes pro crime.
Yeah. Fully agree. 100%. Certain laws are put in place by people that are not good. And just because they say it's wrong does not mean it's actually wrong. So, you know.
I'm also pro gay.
That's where you're wrong.
That's where we cross.
That's where we've crossed. That's where the divide starts now.
I knew they wouldn't accept me.
Of course not.
Gay failed cannibal.
Fuck. There was some joke I was making, and I don't remember what it is. Oh yeah, how much it would suck to get sentenced to life in jail over Zoom.
Yeah.
That would absolutely be one of those moments again of like, what the fuck is life?
You know what would be good?
What is this existence we're living now?
You know what would be terrible though?
What?
Sentencing someone into life over Zoom.
I feel like you'd have fun with that.
I would rather do it.
And the cat
From
filter
the
is
comfort
stuck
of my
on.
own home.
Didn't that happen to somebody?
Somebody's lawyer.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened, but it appears that I'm a cat.
One will be even worse than
I'm
that, though.
prepared to continue with
Giving somebody a death sentence over Zoom.
Mm.
How would that work?
Your Honor, kill this bitch.
Sentencing hearing. Well, I mean, like,
There was probably a lot of stays of that kind of stuff during like the height of COVID. If I had to imagine, because like, death penalties take like fucking forever to actually get.
I don't know
become a
why
thing.
that feels weird to me. Why it feels so sacred to have a space that's dedicated to that, like,
For death
change
penalties?
in your, well, like that kind of a change in your reality, right? Like being sent to prison, saddled with a fine, given the death penalty or a life sentence, having a discrete space in which to experience that feels important.
Well, because you're literally changing the course of somebody's life based on one person's interpretation of the law and 12 people's ability to take in information from two separate groups who are vying for, like, there's like a reason a lot of states or a lot of people are pushing to abolish the death penalty, mostly because like people have been wrongly convicted of shit all the fucking time. Does somebody deserve to lose their life over something that might be wrong? And that's before you even get into the ethical question of is anyone like deserving of taking away somebody else's life or right to live, even if we know beyond like the shadow of a doubt that this person did whatever crime they did. Do we have the ultimate saying whether or not they get to live or not, right?
Yeah.
I ultimately say certain things, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd kill Hitler a couple of times over if I could. If you put that choice in my hands, I would do it. Jeffrey Dahmer, you deserve to die.
Most instances
Is he
of
dead?
premeditated murder, I think,
Yeah.
I hope he got the death penalty.
I actually am not 100% sure.
Hitler?
No.
It's like,
Dahmer.
Both of us were like, no.
No, Hitler, famously alive at 90.
son
Definitely
of
didn't
a
kill
bitch.
himself at the end of the
did.
fucking war.
that's why I was so
managed to do-
confused. I was
No.
like, I must have missed
We said Dahmer, you weren't listening.
It's
I
like
said
Hitler
you just
killed
weren't
himself.
listening.
Hitler killed himself.
Hitler did kill himself. Fucking coward.
It's like Hitler never saw a courtroom.
No, I'm curious if Jeffrey Dahmer is still alive. And I don't think he is. I think he is dead.
He's dead for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure he got the death.
I would imagine the fact that they made a fucking movie and TV series about him, he probably is definitely fucking rotting in hell. There's certain people where I'm like, you have forfeited your right to live. I do fully 100% believe that. I do not necessarily always believe in our justice systems or any justice system really's ability to always accurately and assuredly and securely be able to find that out sometimes. Like there's just too many missteps by too many corrupt people, too many dishonest people, too many like just inept people in that process.
Yeah, I don't think the institutions are, as much as we would like our institutions to be designed to enforce justice, I don't think they're designed to do that in the first place.
No.
So I would not trust those same institutions to take a life.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Mm-hmm.
I do think
a system in which the severity of a punishment can be like changed based on the mood of the person presiding is a system that cannot be trusted to dole out punishments correctly.
Yeah.
Like as much as I love seeing the videos of that one judge who's like just super nice and like really understanding the people, but like for every judge like that, there's another judge who was like, I fucking stubbed my toe on the way here, so everybody who's coming in is getting the maximum of everything they can possibly get.
Well, and a lot of times it's like it's not even fucking, it's not conscious.
No.
Right? Like they say that judges are more lenient after they've eaten lunch. Like,
which is like, what the fuck are you what the fuck do you mean? That sounds like a hella flaw in the system. But yeah.
We need fat judges, is what I'm saying.
No, because
we need catered breakfast
sandwiches being inserted into the judge's mouth.
We need to start pumping weed through the fucking air conditioning system and just get them all blasted.
Dude, I want to be in the courtroom for those specific. Like, I want to just see how those interactions play out.
So what are you telling me?
We need to adopt Rastafarianism as the nation's religion.
Your Honor, if I may.
The devil's lettuce will bring you clarity.
All right, like, Your Honor, like, think about it for real, though. Like, I'm just saying, like, think about it, like, for real. Like,
it wouldn't make sense.
It wouldn't make sense, bro. Like,
just think about it.
Just think about it.
For a second.
You want to hit?
Some of the stupidest thoughts I've ever had are when I'm high.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I support it.
Yeah, same.
But yeah, no, they oh, did you have another?
No, I just realized how far off the fucking story we got. Like, we are so far away from your jury duty story.
Hey, it's all on topic pretty much. We're talking about the judicial
system. Try to keep it interesting.
Yeah. Because my story is honestly just setting the setting. And then we just I figure that we're going to sidetrack and tangent off.
Have an ADHD conversation.
Yeah. I just bring my life forms experience.
Now that we've had our fucking...
Here, I'll distract myself if you want to continue.
Oh my God. Our diatribe about our justice, American justice system.
No, but they show us the videos and I was like, okay, cool. They have like 4 judges in there, and based on whether or not they even need us, is how we get called in. And so if there's like 200 of us, they were saying how each judge, if they need jurors, would need about 40 to 50. So if every judge needed people, pretty much everybody would be called. So last time I went and got called, they didn't need anybody. They didn't tell us. I feel like they didn't tell us any of that information though. So it just felt useless. Right. But now I'm like, okay, so depending on whether or not the situation calls for it, I might actually get called. And it went, everybody has like an ID number. So my ID number was 23. Ha, Jordan. Let's go. So I was pretty hype about that. And all the numbers around mine got called. And only 2 judges needed jurors. So half of us were called. But it was like 20, 24, 26. And I was like, just like sitting there like, gosh, am I going to get called? Like, part of me wanted to and part of me didn't. I didn't want to miss work because it's a busy week. Yeah. But like, if I did get called, I wanted it. I want it to be at least juicy. Like, I don't want it to be like a useless case where it's just like a petty,
like, some like petty theft bullshit.
Yeah.
Those 15-year-olds sneezed too hard and the gum they were trying to steal fell out of their pocket.
Right.
Damn.
Yeah. No, like, give me a murder case. I want to, like I don't want.
I want to have another person's life.
I want
in
this
my hand. I want to be 1/12 responsible for if they live or die.
I need that taste.
Yeah, I've told you. I want to play out my 12 Angry Men's fantasy. I want to know what it's like to be in a hung jury. just for like, and keep hanging that.
I
bitch
just want to
for
know
a
what it's like
while.
to be hung.
Same.
Yeah.
I thought
Just kidding, I'm black.
You guys want to dive the asphyxiation?
That doesn't help me.
Yeah, doesn't everybody?
That's crazy.
I'm all right.
But no, it's like I want something good, something that when the thing's over, I can like talk about and have actual like juice with. I don't know.
See, that's why they
And-
wouldn't let you do it. They found out we were doing the podcast.
Exactly.
You're an influencer now, man. Sorry.
Right. Well, there were a couple things that I found interesting though, because about halfway through, after
Tens of people on the internet will see it.
no.
Look, just because the judge believes in us and you don't, doesn't mean shit.
I didn't say how many tens. It could be hundreds of tens or thousands of tens.
I think tens. Never mind.
10,000s of 10.
10,000s of tens. Oh man. But
No.
before you continue, just
Yeah.
to make sure, did you sign any things that you couldn't talk about any of this?
No.
Okay.
I didn't hear anything. We weren't presented.
No. I
With-
get it. I'm just wondering if, like, when you went in there, like, you wrote your name down on something, and that thing may have said, like, you are not allowed to talk about any of this shit. I'm amazed you're able to take this picture. I'll be fucking honest with you.
I mean, they didn't confiscate our phones.
Fair enough.
So, and I didn't take any picture beyond that point.
Fair.
Because I knew that anytime I take out my phone or look like I was trying to take a picture after that point, I might get looked at.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, there wasn't anything, past that point that I got to that was like, oh, they were like, you better not take out your phone and take a picture. Like, people had their phones out and everything. I'm sure not many people were doing, videos and shit, but
Fair enough.
Why is that person in the front wearing a full face bike helmet?
Yeah. The hell is going on there?
oh, I don't know because
I'm sorry, did this bitch just order fucking DoorDash while we were doing the podcast?
is he about to?
This bitch ordered goddamn Cheesecake Factory.
I just had to go grab it real quickly before I got too cold. I was trying not to distract you.
Why did you not wait until we were done?
Because I forgot to schedule it ahead of time.
Oh, dear God.
They
I
only
wanna-
accept your orders up until 9:40.
Oh, that's right. Cheesecake Factory. Yeah, fair enough.
They close. I'm just here to put the ass in assembly.
Good job.
I'm
buddy.
just trying to change
did
the
it.
topic.
You did it.
I'm just trying to change the topic.
This bitch ordered fucking Cheesecake Factory in the middle of the podcast. That's okay.
I'm sorry.
They're not used to us starting on time. I just want to let y'all know we start usually at like fucking midnight. After these two bitches chose 9 p.m.
I chose 9 p.m.
You chose 9 p.m. and has consistently been the last one into the house every fucking week. That's okay. I'm sorry. Continue about your jury duty bullshit.
Thank you.
I was talking about jury duty. In that case, I'm just.
That's okay.
But
Did you get enough to share with the class?
Do you want a red ragoon?
I do, actually. Sorry, continue.
I'm gonna need one of them, or at least half of one, if there's not that many.
I don't know why, but it is wild to me that that's cheesecake. That's an interesting looking cheesecake at that. Oh.
This episode is sponsored by Cheesecake Factory.
Oh.
It's not. It's not.
It is.
It
not.
isn't.
We wish
We're
it
getting
were.
this from a serious food organization.
Sweet. Thank you. Mysterious food organization.
Yes.
Look,
Um,
you need to give away that exposure to tens of people.
That's fair.
But no,
That'll be our livelihood.
I found out that after the second round of people got called in and there was half of us left, I was talking to somebody and apparently, and he said that he's probably shouldn't be telling everybody in there at that time, because if everybody would have heard, there's some kind of like thing that you can do, because they kind of screen you even after they call you to go up. They give you more questions to make sure that you're qualified to be a juror, essentially, to see if you're like the kind of person who will fall within the rules of, what it means to be a juror, right? And basically, there are ways that you can answer those questions to get sent home.
Yeah, heard that.
And I forgot exactly what he said, but more or less, there's like a question of like, hey, you're supposed to come to, guilty, non-guilty, verdicts. Like you're supposed to. Will you abide by that rule?
Fuck no.
And yeah, you can basically, and you have to word it a certain way. But if you word it a certain way, they'll basically, your chances of actually continuing past those questions drops. I
like how there's the idea that you have to word it a certain way to get disqualified. And not word it a certain way to continue on.
Right.
Like
that was my question too. I was
trying their damnedest not to let you get out of jury duty, apparently.
Yeah.
I'm trying to fail the test, but they're not making it easy.
They won't make it. They're not making it easy.
Yeah.
Right.
I forget what the specific situation is called, but like basically you can go rogue if you want to as a jury and do some crazy shit. You can eat that whole motherfucking thing
all at once.
You don't have to eat it all at once, but you split it in half like you were going to give it back, and I was nervous for a second.
Oh no, I was gonna eat the whole thing. I was just breaking it up into pieces.
Yeah, boy. Like just fucking jury duty 0% speed runs.
Turn to ASMR real quick.
I swear to Christ. If I randomly come up to your room and just fucking punch you, you'll know why.
Because you're having some hard times with
this. I don't even have misophonia, but I do hate hearing people chew. Sucks to be you. That shit ain't getting picked up at all.
Oh, really?
Scritch, 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 scratch, scritch. Oh, man. No, like this, like, that's just fucking weird to me. Of like, it's harder to get out of jury duty than it is to become a juror, apparently. You made it happen somehow.
I got lucky. That's all it was. Pure luck.
This
They
man,
just skipped your number.
Mm-hmm.
they didn't even realize it's 23. But they're like,
They didn't call it in succession. It's just like all the numbers around me got called. And not my number.
losing the lottery never felt so good.
Yeah.
Sure.
But then I got this like very uneasy feeling walking out of there.
You were just going to get called back.
Yes. A third time. I felt it so hard. I was like, I feel like the next time that I come back, I'm not going to be so lucky. I don't think they're going to let it slip past again. I feel like they would keep track of people that they call but don't call.
What is like the opposite of gambler's fallacy?
I've won too much, I'm going to lose.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
I have somehow gone my whole life with no jury summons, and I said it the last time we talked about this. I really want one. I want to know what it's like to be a juror.
That's what my boss is like. When I said that, yeah, he was like, "Oh my God, everybody complains all the time about going to jury. I haven't been summoned once. I really want to do it.
Yeah.
Everybody else does it." And I'm like, well, I mean, we really don't want to because
That's missing work.
Yeah, we're missing working for you sometimes.
Right.
No shade at all. I just think that it's funny. The situation.
All the shade. We as Kingz HQ have come to an unanimous agreement that we just fucking hate you, bro. Everything about you.
No.
Honestly, see your face, puke every time.
It's on site.
On site.
On site, but
What are
not
we
really.
His seat, his boss.
No, my boss is cool. He's really cool.
It sounds like
Yeah, but
That
I just
doesn't
thought that was
qualify you
funny.
to be my boss.
But yeah, that was my jury duty. So hopefully I don't get called again. Oh, and one of my coworkers, literally the day I got back, he sent me a picture saying that he caught the jury duty
Damn.
because he sent a picture of a jury summons too.
No shit.
Apparently,
That's
it's
funny.
spreading in my company now, like
Oh, that
wildfires,
fucking sucks.
like a disease.
How many do we got? Is it?
There's a
2,
few of
3,
them. So
4.
some of them are older. Like
Okay.
I don't think that we looked at yet. And then a couple of them are from this week. But
All right, so these are.
we may have
kids.
looked at some of these already. I'm not sure.
This one's on Okay, the back raise one we have seen. This is the weekly segment of Quora Digest questions that people are fucking nuts to ask.
Quora. I think the top one was the top one was
This
the more
one is just
interesting one.
boomer logic. Our son is 27 and still lives with us. He pays rent and helps with bills and claims. An apartment is too expensive these days. I feel like he's lying as when I was his age. And then it trails off, and I can guarantee you it's going to be some bullshit from someone who does not understand how economics works outside of the literal time period in which it was relevant for them.
Mhm.
Doesn't have the capacity to look outside their lived experience. Now, the bottom one is wild.
Yeah, we talked about this one before. I remember
just
this
kicked
one.
out my 12-year-old son, and how do I get him into foster care?
Yeah,
There were a
this
few-
was when he first brought these Quora ones up. This was one of the ones that was there.
I didn't remember that.
I know that there were a couple of them that have similar like foster care
Yeah.
kicked out. I don't know.
This
if it
one
was
I remember
this one
specifically,
exactly.
also because I did this episode recently.
Oh, okay.
I edited this episode.
I
I
which,
guess
by
that
the
would
way-
make sense actually. We
right. Like, so I get to go over these again sometimes.
okay.
Is it legal to call 911 while driving? That I can see that being an interesting like conundrum. You're not supposed to use your phone while you're driving anymore. But what do
Hands
you need?
off, but
Yeah.
like
What if you have a shitty car?
there.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, police officer. So funny. I was actually just calling you guys.
Fun fact before we continue. For some reason, DaVinci does not like pulling in the PNGs you take directly from your phone. Like when you do a screenshot,
Mhm.
whatever the PNG format is, DaVinci does not like it.
Interesting. Well, so it's HEIC sometimes.
That might be why, but it's still weird that it's still a .png file format.
Really?
And yeah, DaVinci just doesn't like it. I always have to
Oh,
convert
yeah, we
it.
saw this one before.
Was it specifically about the Optimus Prime toy?
I don't remember. Us
I don't remember us talking about
12-year-old
this.
son died after holding his breath because I didn't give him an Optimus Prime. Or I don't know if we did it on the podcast, but you've definitely showed
okay.
me this screenshot before we've had a
Okay.
What should I do next is fucking wild. I didn't give him an Optimus Prime for his birthday. What
Like-
should I do next?
Did he just die?
Is he still twitching? Is he cold?
Like, was your first reaction after seeing your son give his last breath to go on to Quora?
Go to Quora.
We're not like, how do I resuscitate somebody?
Right.
Man.
Is that even possible to hold your breath and to kill yourself? I feel like
I believe.
Technically, no.
Yeah,
because
it's
you just pass out and start breathing again.
yeah.
Under normal circumstances.
To be able to
yeah.
get to death is kind of a hard step to cross to.
I can try it right now.
Well, while he does that, I caught my 13-year-old daughter using pads for her period without my permission, and something tells me that this has to be a dad.
This has to be a dad.
This has to be a dad, right?
There's
Yeah,
no way.
maybe he just doesn't know. No.
Well, what the fuck do you mean without your permission?
What do you mean?
What do I do now?
I need you to pull this one up.
I was gonna say this is a long time ago one, but I can look
If
up
you
the
can
question.
find this one, I need you to put this one up. This one we've seen, you're restricting the neuro. I cannot speak right now. Literally a single nostril is stuffed, and it's the main one I need to breathe.
It's my good one.
It's my good one. It's I rejected and ignored him. Now he has deleted my number and doesn't try to contact me anymore. What should I do? Except that you pushed him away, and he respected that.
Right.
Ex-boss is asking for the whereabouts of important items after firing you. I mean,
Just don't say shit.
don't say shit. He's not your boss.
No response.
Unless he's gonna
Okay, I found
compensate
it.
you for that.
I ran a mile in 4 minutes and 33 seconds. Is that good for a
That's
13-year-old?
extremely good.
I think that's
it's
good for a human.
It's approaching world record times, actually. I think. Wait,
Is that approaching?
I ran
A singular
the
mile?
fastest mile I've ever ran. I think was 5:06. That was pretty fucking fast.
I was about to say, I think we're beyond approaching here.
Yeah.
Yeah, look it up real quick
Yeah.
because I think this is a lie. Is what I'm getting at.
That's what I have to you found the question?
Yeah. And Yeah, so it's this, the question is that full question, and then the first response that pops up is I guess I could start saying the names of these usernames potentially. Maybe not. We got Froggy Pogs, who said, "Are you like some middle-aged man who knows nothing about the female body? Grow up. She knows how to take care of herself, and when she has her menstrual cycle, which is amazing. Lots of kids are terrified of theirs and often ruin lots of clothes because they bleed through. Can't believe you think you to punish your daughter for using pads. Fucking pads. You're seriously mentally ill."
My son is using toilet paper after he takes a dump without my
Without
permission.
asking me. What is he supposed to do? Before we read more answers to that, that is a minute off the men's world record for a mile run. Like, that is
Extremely good
extremely good for a 13-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
for anybody but you.
I cheated on my boyfriend. I feel really bad about it, so I broke up with him. Fair. He didn't know I cheated. Should I tell him now or just keep it to myself?
Why?
Whatever helps sleep at night.
Right?
Why
Like-
would you? You already broke up with him.
The vindictive part of me says you should tell him because you deserve everything you get. But the other part of me is like,
It's not
has
really
he
gonna
moved?
change anything.
Is he, if I guess my answer hinges with that one. My answer hinges on: has he moved on with his life,
Mm-hmm.
and does he feel like is he thinking about this shit anymore?
Yeah.
Because at that point, you're just gonna reopen an old wound. And if he has moved the fuck on, no. If he hasn't, and he feels like he's done something wrong, he's been really beating himself up over it, then yes, you need to go on and come fucking clean about that.
Yeah,
But
especially if he's asked for, some kind of reason.
if he has like no closure and is dealing with the ramifications of not having any closure, then yeah, you need to fucking tell him.
Yeah.
Not that that's ever going to get back around to them in any kind of timely manner.
Mm.
No, that's fine. That's not even a fucking good one. Yeah, this one's pretty actually. All three of these are actually pretty tame.
Yeah.
Is it okay to decline an interview request from a company that just rejected me in another role search recently? I mean, yeah.
Do what you want.
Yeah. It's okay to decline interview request for a job you wanted. Like it is totally within your right to do. My question is, why are you declining it? If your idea is being rejected once means you just don't want to work for the company anymore, I think that's a little silly. But do you, bro?
Yeah.
Or sis, whatever.
It's your life.
Can I refuse to do an exit interview with my boss? I mean, yeah. What do they? The worst they can do is fire you. Which, if you're doing an exit interview, I assume they've already fired you.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. They might do that for quitting, actually. That might make more sense that they do for quitting. But once again, the worst they're going to fucking do. I accepted a job offer, but then received a much better one 2 weeks later. What is the right thing to do? Take the better job offer.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as loyalty to a company. Stop that.
Circumstances change. I mean, it sucks, but they probably interviewed a shit ton of people, which are all also viable candidates for your position. They could literally just be like, "Oh, call Rob back." Then.
Sweet, we'll call him back. I was gonna say, most of the time when you get rejected is because even if they were ready to hire you, they found someone better and just hired them instead.
Yeah.
Companies are not loyal to you. Quit trying to prove your loyalty to them.
I think some of these are pretty wild.
Oh, I can bet. I don't believe this one only because I know this has happened historically, and I feel like this is probably someone just like trying to make their own question of it. I did CPR on a crash victim until paramedics arrived. They said I saved her life. I am now being sued by her for breaking a rib. What do I do? I'm fairly certain, literally, Good Samaritan laws protect you from that.
Most of the time. It depends on your state.
True. That is also true. The answer being, look up Good Samaritan laws. What does your state say on Good Samaritan laws and all that fun shit?
Get a lawyer, really.
Also, yeah, lawyer up. Any question about when it comes to any blanket statement, we might be wrong about here. Anytime the law becomes involved, probably should lawyer up. That's your Kingz After Dark hot take for the night, I guess.
Foolish.
It's just stupid. Like, you saved my life. Now I'm gonna make you spend a bunch of money trying to fight this. Like,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Which, understandably, it's not even understandable. Like, this is just how fucked our healthcare system is. That broken rib really is probably like putting her in much more financial like suffering than just dying would have.
Actually, though,
Which is like wildly fucked up to say, but it is true that like having someone save your life can be worse off for you if you are not in a financial place to deal with that. And it's
yeah.
what used to be like a really cut and dry, like, yeah, no, she's being a dick. Actually, now that I'm fucking like in this shit as like a full adult,
Maybe
yeah,
that's just not out of anger. That's
it's not
just
out of anger. That's quite literally
necessity.
out of I cannot deal with the medical expenses that have come along with this now.
yeah, but I still feel like if you
I feel
you
like
shouldn't go after somebody who you owe your life to. I feel like that's just,
morally, this is wrong.
Yeah, morally
For
agree
me.
with that. Completely.
Yeah.
I think that burden should fall onto whoever. I guess depends. Did she? It doesn't say she got in. She just said she got into a crash. So was it like?
Well, yeah. Well, this is a shitty thing about our legal. Well, let's say, for instance, let's say they didn't cause their own crash.
Yeah.
Right. So, even if they didn't cause their own crash, if the broken rib that they require medical bills for, wasn't caused by the person that caused the crash, I could see legally those expenses being either exempted or the case being thrown out because of that.
Well, the thing about CPR, have y'all ever had a CPR certification?
I've not.
Not have you? So the thing about CPR is that to do CPR properly, you will probably break somebody's rib. You have to break through that rib cage to get to the heart. And that is a very common, like, that's just the thing that's gonna have to happen for me to continue starting your heart. So I can fully believe that the person giving CPR broke her rib in the process. That's just kind of how that goes. So assumption being, like, the assumption here is I can make the easy assumption that the broken rib did come from the CPR giver. It's still wild to me, or not so much wild, but like, I don't know. It really just comes down to our fucking healthcare system is fucked beyond belief. That this is like even a thing. Or it's so much so like it's fucked beyond belief that because of how much I know our healthcare system is fucked, I can understand why she'd be suing, or they'd be she'd be suing. It is, we do live in a dystopia.
We live in a society.
Question about the Chinese language that I don't.
Chinese calls itself the Central Middle Kingdom because they believe that they were the center of the world in their mythology. It's the Chinese version of geocentrism. Also, I don't think all other countries or names are translated according to pronunciation. For instance, they call America like the beautiful place. Beautiful
Exactly.
country.
Yeah.
That's I think just patently false.
Yeah. Honestly, most places are like historically, a lot of places consider themselves the middle of the fucking, or like, we are discussing a place that has no definite end or beginning. You get to make yourself the middle of it.
Earth used to be the center of the universe.
Right. A lot of maps from that same, from like fucking centuries ago, like the way the map looked just depended on the fucking country you were in. That country was usually the middle of it. Like even our map fucking today is not totally accurate to what it should be. Africa is not the size that it should be on a fucking map. Yeah, the country of Africa is, even accounting for like the distortion effect that has to go on to map a sphere to a rectangle, 2D rectangle, like Africa is still like disproportionately small compared to what it should be. Africa is
So if I open up Google Maps, that's not correct.
When you do like that full zoom out view of it, yeah. Like,
so it changes shape as you zoom in on it?
I didn't say shape, I said size.
Oh.
Yeah, that's why my picture look like that.
Why can I not say?
We can skip that one.
Okay.
Because none of us know
It's
to,
fucking Chinese.
I don't know how to
word in
pronounce those
Chinese.
characters.
It's like, Fluff, save us.
Why
Look,
can I not
did take
say?
an introduction.
Okay.
I took a level 1 college class in Chinese. I don't remember that.
Same. I remember nothing of my Chinese course. It was fun though.
This one's interesting.
My son passed away. Everyone was there at his funeral. His mom, relatives, and friends, except for me. I avoided it on purpose. Was I wrong that I didn't go to the funeral? Without knowing your reasonings, I don't know if anyone could tell you if you were right or wrong.
Funerals are for the living. If you need to process stuff in a different way.
Yeah, if you grieve in a different fucking way, then that's up to how you grieve. If you didn't go because of some weird petty ass reason, then yeah, you were wrong to not go.
Because your son killed himself and you thought that was evil. I think you should die now.
Yeah.
Or some other innocuous bullshit like, oh, my son was gay or trans or some other stupid shit of like, so I didn't go because I thought I was morally wrong. Yeah, no, you deserve to rot. That would actually be a fun one to read. What did you say at a job interview that automatically landed you the job?
I'll suck your dick.
Hired.
I'll tell your wife about us. Most of the job, the most recent job I got actually, telling them that I don't know everything and I'm willing to Google it. Like it gets brought up a lot of, that's why I usually get the jobs I get.
Yeah, I'm gonna see what somebody said here.
In a job interview, the panel asks you, will you leave this job if you find a better one? What will be your answer? Whatever the fuck they want to hear. That's one of the ones where you don't need to tell the fucking truth. It doesn't matter. At this point, I'm just trying to secure my goddamn bag. So I'm gonna tell you whatever the fuck you want to hear. And then if something does come up, I'm peacing out. So sorry.
This is actually a good answer.
Really?
Yeah. So to the question of what did you say at a job interview that automatically landed you the job? This person said that my first job after leaving college, there were 3 interviewers. One of them said, "You do know we're looking for someone with 3 years experience, right?" I replied, "Yes." And everyone else is saying that as well. But how do I get that 3 years experience unless someone's willing to give me a chance? They all looked at each other and one said, "Good point." They phoned me a couple of hours later to offer me the job. I worked there for a lot more than 3 years.
Yep. Like, if you are under the sound of our voice plural, if you are a college student or even like a high school student or anyone who's like looking to get into your first job and you're daunted by like all the fucking applications that are like, oh, we need 2 years experience. We need someone with this. Apply anyway. Just do it. Half the time, they don't even ask that question going in. They get that requirement really comes down more to, do you have experience in the things we need you to have experience in? And
do you have the core skills? Are you somebody you think we can work with? Right.
Yeah. If they're asking for, oh, we need you to have at least 2 years of experience and whatever the fuck, right? Basically, be prepared to go, I may not have that 2 years, but here's what I know how to fucking do, and here's what I know that you need me to do.
Yeah. And it's a wish list to begin with.
It's a wish list to begin with. Do not now, if we're talking like a senior level position and it says you need like 10 plus years, same rule apply, but you have to have the self-assessment to know that you have senior level like skills.
Yeah.
But the point being, especially this is mostly for entry level shit. If you're looking for your entry level job, do not worry too much about the time requirement that they all put in there, because half the time they won't even fucking ask you about it, and the other half, that's not even what they're asking. That's not what they're really asking for. That's what some HR person who was putting together the posting like was told to ask for, and your interviewers were going to ask for a whole different thing.
And another thing to note, I'd say a comment you get when you're looking for people looking for jobs in the game industry a lot is people will look for having made a game or having shipped the game. Those are things you can do by yourself.
You super can, as it turns out.
And the reason that having done those things are important is because there are specific considerations that come in terms of like bug processing, publishing considerations, and technical considerations that you do not encounter until you go through that process. So being able to show that you've done that, even if like I just put it on Steam or I just put it on the Apple Store, is important and is valuable. Is like you can totally do that by yourself.
Yeah, like you don't need to have actually shipped a successful.
You don't need to be able to
like you don't have to have shipped anything that has made you considerable amounts of money.
You don't
Which
even
is what
say
it-
that you worked on COD. You should be able to be like, yeah, I know how to upload something to the app
Yeah,
store.
I've uploaded something to the App Store before. I put something through like fucking the Epic, like not even necessarily the Epic Game Store, but like I've shipped a game through Epic or put something up on Steam, or I don't know if itch.io counts when they kind of ask for stuff like that, but I feel like it does.
I mean, I would put it on my resume.
I would, absolutely.
I feel
Oh,
like
that's
anytime
what
you hit build on something and people are able to
You've
open
gotten
that
as far as
EXE
you need to go.
at
Yeah.
least
yeah,
and run it without running into like
any kind of
bugs
game
that will
like
end.
runtime crashes and shit.
Right. I'd
You've
say
done
that
what
that's
you
a
needed to do
success.
for what that requirement is asking of you. Yeah, like one of the biggest things like all of us ended up learning towards the end of our college careers was like, don't stress too much about what they're asking for. If you know you can do the fucking job, own that you know how to do the job. That's what almost anyone hiring is looking for is do you know how to do the job and do you work well with this team? Get like, are you going to come in and make a fuck ton of problems for us if we try to hire you on? Because there was a job I got hired for that like I was told, I was like, you weren't even like the best candidate. You just seemed like a good dude to work with. Like, and I was like, shit, I'll take it. And then I left that company a year later. But either who, know what you know, be willing to like, know what you know and know it well, but also be willing to learn and know that you don't know everything. Like when it comes to entry level shit, that mentality will get you so much further than like any technical know-how will.
And be somebody that other people want to work with.
Yes.
To your point.
Yes.
Because that's gotten me far too.
Yeah.
Just being a person like you were saying, somebody who was like, yeah, you seem like you could fit well.
You seem like
or
you fit
seem
well
like
in
you
this.
work well in a team,
Right.
or can communicate very well. Different ideas and your goals and whatnot. So yeah.
Like the portion of like your interview where it's like, hey, we're gonna have you like meet these other people on the team, or like doing programming like interviews, right? Yeah, we're gonna have you like meet the art team and shit, right? Like people you may not technically have to work with. A lot of the times they have you do that once again just to see how well you mesh with like everyone around you. Like, are you weirdly snobby about people that aren't directly tied to your job? Are you like, do they get a sense of you looking down on other people, or like, do you immediately clam up and just can't say shit to anybody that isn't directly tied to what you're already doing? Like that personality fit is a big component, and isn't like it. If you haven't gone through it, it might seem like like an arbitrary thing, but that ability to mesh with a company and mesh with a team well is wildly important. I think we all have had stories of working with people that have been like, you know what you're doing, but you do not know how to work with the team, and you don't like know how to like be a part of this like company. And the mentality, honestly, I think gets you a lot further. Even like at the networking phase, right? With GDC coming up, like we've all heard like the stories of like, oh my God, like the amount of stories of like the horror stories from like industry professionals having to deal with like college students of like, it's just like they dread coming across like clearly like a sophomore or junior in college who is here to like put their resume in front of everybody's face. And it's like that. Yeah, you'll get your business card and resume into someone's hands that will probably get trashed in their hotel trash can before they even hit a plane. You are much better off having like the social people skills to like just kind of fucking chat it up with somebody and like just kind of get their fucking Instagram handle or some shit than trying to cold call in front of people's faces all goddamn day.
Making professional friends is usually a better strategy.
Yeah. Which means you have to know how to genuinely make friends.
Yeah. Have that interpersonal
Or be a hell of a
communication
narcissist.
skills.
One of the two. Yeah, work on your interpersonal skills. We are saying this coming from a game design background. and the wonderful, wacky characters we meet in a game design program at college.
Yeah.
And we also say that, I don't know, at least I know personally saying, no, how difficult it can be.
It can be very difficult, and I do understand how difficult it can be. But it is an important skill to learn. As much camaraderie comes like in like these kind of nerd clusters, as much camaraderie kind of comes from everybody being like introverted and kind of socially awkward. Unfortunately, it is still important to know how to interface with people that like you might not know and you don't have the time to get to know.
Personally,
the
I
way
blame
you
the
used to.
patriarchy, but
It could be, who knows?
Yeah. At the very least, those skills will do you more good than bad. So
Yeah.
if you work on it, you won't regret it.
Yeah. Motivational hour over. Let's get into AI.
Yes, sir.
Oh, this fucking video.
So yeah, I saw this like 10
Is the
minutes
sound important
before.
for this?
Yeah, there's sound for it.
Is
yeah.
it important for it?
No,
Okay, because I don't want to have to line that up.
but
I hate this so much.
I watched this. I just saw this like 10 minutes before we came down to record, and it took me another watch.
Is that Sora? Like, do you know if this is a Sora creation?
It looks like it.
It looks so
with
real.
how
This hat-
clean it is.
They got this like that is.
I think that's just Will recording himself eating shit.
Oh,
Oh,
Because it's from his Instagram.
okay.
Because I had the
okay.
same exact reaction you did because I was like, wait, is this Sora?
oh, because he does. It is
I think he
reversed
reversed it.
He does
to make
something
it
in
look
reverse.
weird.
Yeah.
Okay, I saw him laugh at the end of that clip. That makes a lot more sense. Okay.
But I second guessed it.
I-
And that's the craziness of all of
Honestly, the fact that no weird bullshit's going on with the spaghetti should have been my first indicator.
I thought that we're gonna see it in 1 second. This right here.
I
Yeah,
thought that
The
was
way the
AI.
spaghetti bounced, I thought was AI for
I think
sure.
It
I
really
think
did.
that's
Yeah.
reversed too because there's something weird about it.
Oh, it definitely is. I see what you mean.
this. Yeah.
You can see it like jumping out of his mouth,
Yeah, he's definitely playing with us.
right?
But
That was
I
definitely
did
reversed.
not know whether or not that was legit AI or not. And then it took me like 2 watches. And then I looked at like who posted it and it was like, oh, this is him.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I was like, oh, this has to be him recording him.
I guess that makes
trying
sense
to-
too. Yeah,
Yeah. And he's saying this is getting
He's
out
just-
of
he's just
hand.
making a joke. Okay, that makes. It's crazy that literally we do have AI technology that made the fact that we had to look at this and determine that it wasn't fake is
It's getting there.
it's getting there. Like
It's a bad thing.
we've been on an AI roll the last few weeks, and I don't hate the technology. I hate that we can't have good faith in people in power for this to
Mm.
like that. We
I
just
don't trust my institutions to use
I don't
this
trust
ethically.
any of the institutions here to use it ethically, and that's what fucking sucks the most.
Yeah.
Like I can't keep watching this. I'm getting too horny. I'm getting so fucking distracted, like watching the actual AI one.
Oh, that's what they call it nowadays.
I know, right?
Distracted, new term
Yeah,
for horny.
Yeah.
Love the way the pasta disappears into his mouth.
I love the way.
Even a hole. I'd love to be able to stick it where there isn't even a hole.
I love the way the pasta is shaped like a pizza.
there was one that was
pizza
randomly
shaped
shaped
like
like a
a
pizza, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's like
Mhm.
he's eating a pizza, but it's made out of pasta.
I love what those lips do.
For anyone who's listening audio, we just watched Will Smith recreate the very viral Will Smith eating pasta AI video. The thing is horrifying, but that's just a slice of pizza that was like
Pasta
superimposed,
texture.
just like masked in over it.
Mm-hmm.
So lately there's been a development by OpenAI called their Sora. Is it an engine? Is it just like a
I
model?
haven't actually.
Like, what's the actual term?
It's
for
a
that?
model.
Model,
Yeah.
the Sora model, and the AI video creation that comes out of Sora is both the coolest and scariest thing I've seen in a while. because if you've ever seen an AI video, at least like in like the last like year or so, it's usually pretty clear, like pre-Sora. It's usually pretty clear it's AI. It is either doing the fucking most every frame of like
dinosaur,
right? Like the fucking like are the lighting, the colors, everything is like just literally shifting and changing and undulating the whole time. Or it is the most unhinged shit, such as this Will Smith noodle video we were talking about.
Distorted.
Because what it's doing is
alien.
Is essentially doing like video editing and deforming on the fly. Right.
It's generating a frame and then saying, let's put some movement here, and then we'll generate another frame.
And then let's say put some movement here. I'm saying like specifically with this one, the Will Smith one is like it is using it's pulling in a video model for it to go off of. That's why it's not changing its lighting and coloring everywhere versus the videos that were like fully like superimposing like a image, like it's creating the video on the fly, everything.
Yeah.
And you get like fucking strobing colors and like everything and all that fun shit. With the new Sora model now, that with that coming out, we're seeing I'll put up an example right here of the two that I saw particularly, the little monster, actually from the video that we saw earlier, the little monster and the woman walking in like a Japanese street. They're fully AI generated, but in such a way that the video is a lot more consistent.
There's a temporal
consistency.
Yeah.
Temporal stabilization.
Like before, if somebody walked in front of a sign, the sign could change.
Because once it goes out of view, the AI model no longer cares about it until it comes back into view. And now it will be a completely different sign because all it knew was that a sign was there, not what that sign was supposed to be.
The fact that the sign would even stay in the first place would be remarkable.
Right.
Also, something else that's interesting about
We basically gave object permanence to AI. We're at that stage of AI now.
I mean, I couldn't distinguish it. I couldn't find very much at all that.
like you can tell like the people in the background and stuff.
Yeah, there was a few of the
Things
clips where you're watching people like walk through the sky
Like walking into buildings
and walking
phase
into
through
it.
them.
Yeah.
I didn't really pay much attention to people.
It's one of those like, yeah, it's still at the point. So it's the thing is like with these videos, the thing is, this is an alpha version of Sora. Like
It's not even available to the public.
this isn't even like available to the public. This is not the final version of this technology yet. And we got here in what was basically just a year from like Stable Diffusion and shit.
Well, Stable Diffusion was started in 2020, I think. 2020, yeah.
Oh, really?
4 years.
But still 4 years and this is where we're at.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is fucking crazy.
It is fucking nuts that it's gotten to this point already. There's still problems with it. It's still AI. Like things are going to shift and undulate. Like with Little Monster, you just see like fingers form out of nothing and then go away.
Yeah.
With
Which is
the
pretty monstrous.
it is pretty monstrous. With the lady walking through the street, like that one is super stable. It took me a sec to even realize it was AI until like you look at her feet and you can tell it has like that. It doesn't have not what I would call like AI generated movement. It has that video game thing of like you can tell that she's not stepping down. Like you can tell a video game character is not stepping onto a ground, but it can look pretty good. It's hitting Uncanny Valley.
It's trained mostly on game engine stuff.
Yeah. So you can kind of tell in like the foot movement, the way it comes down on the ground isn't quite correct. But if you don't know to look at that kind of shit, you won't catch it. And the only other real thing about that video that like stuck out to me was that once her head, when it like at the end of the clip, it does a close up of her face. So it kind of like she's like walking down the street, camera zooms in. At the end of it, it zooms in on her face. You can see like her facial expressions and shit. It looks really fucking good. Then it zooms back out. Like, and then when it zooms back out, she has like a top knot that wasn't there before. Just like a weird like bun on the back of her head. It still looks really good, but if you're paying attention to her head, you can tell that wasn't there, and the AI like just kind of created it once it was back in view. But yeah, like the fact that we're here now is the coolest and scariest shit to me. Because now, like, I think we still. So when I first saw these, I saw them on Twitter or X,
Formerly known as Twitter.
When I saw them, and of course, like the comment section was kind of what you expected. OpenAI had posted the videos, particularly the little monster, and everyone in the comment is losing their shit over the loss of creative jobs and just like kind of whipping themselves into frenzies. And like,
I was just gonna repeat this one. In the 1800s, 200 tailors broke into the first sewing machine factory and destroyed all the machines.
Yeah.
Really?
Imagine a tailor today without a sewing machine.
Right. Like it is just about every facet of technology we have was hated on by somebody. Like I said this last week and I'll say it again. Like being upset that a new technology is here is being upset at the wrong thing. It's what we're really upset, like what you really should be upset about. And what we're really upset about, if people were like, shut up and just listen to themselves for like a second, is you're not upset at the new technology, because if you were, you probably wouldn't be in whatever industry you're in now anyway. Like you as a digital artist can't be that upset about these kind of things, because most of your job now is hinged on these same advancements that put a bunch of other people out of work decades ago. I hate to fucking say it, like, but that's the fact of the matter. The fucking tools that we have at our disposal in like Photoshop, GIMP, whatever the fuck have you, like a lot of that stuff was somebody's job at one point.
Like going from hand animated frames to 3D animation.
Right. To 3D animation was putting 2D animators out. Or shit, let's not even go from 2D to 3D. Fucking having to do everything hand animated to having motion twinning.
Yeah.
Put people out of a fucking job. Like that's, yes, is this at a exponentially increasing rate? Absolutely. But the point is, it's not the technology that needs to be like just like people are railing against the fact that like AI technology exists. That's not the problem. It's the ethical use of it. And no one talks about that point until you force them to start talking about it. And it's like you're going to always lose this fucking debate because you're not talking about the right parts, in my opinion. But
it's not as easy to. It's easier just to shut it down than it is to talk about the
or drum up
of it.
drama,
or to accept the part that are just about every facet of infrastructure and system we have in place is just not prepared for anything like this. But I don't know.
Here we go. It's happening.
It's happening. So what the fuck else we gonna do?
Buckle up.
Right? Like I so do wish that we could have the trust in corporations, CEOs, like publishing houses, animation studios and shit, to have like some level of like efficacy to this, but gonna have to just fucking figure this shit out by the seat of our pants. And hopefully kick out the fucking octogenarians that are making fucking laws and shit governing this, because they are not looking at any of this in any kind of legislature. I can guarantee that. Like, this is not being talked about in the legislature. And even if it was, it wouldn't be talked about by anybody who knew what the fuck they were talking about anyway. So they don't give a shit.
I mean, we've got trouble enough with 2.0 internet laws, let alone
right. Like, I guess my ultimate point is like, your pitchforks and torches don't need to be raised at OpenAI. That's not the people you need to be like pissed
Well, a
with.
little bit, because it depends on how ethically they're running their operation.
True, there is the point of like where they're sourcing their models and shit from.
So like
right?
we still had to keep them in check, but ultimately, if OpenAI doesn't if somebody can figure out how to make money from it, they're going to try to do it. And it's going to probably happen whether we like it or not. What the best thing we can do is make sure that it's done ethically, and that once it arrives, that we can use it ethically as well.
Right. Yeah, that's pretty much where it goes. I guess we're not gonna have as long of a conversation about AI as we thought, because what needed to be said was said like last week and the week before that, I think. Like, I don't know. Like, I find the technology fascinating. I find it very cool. Like, I'm not gonna say I don't. But there is the part of me that also knows that like we as a society are probably just not prepared for what this is going to do to the digital entertainment industry. And that's the part to me that sucks the most. Like, I'm not going to get mad that the technology exists. I'm more upset that we're not going to be able to handle it existing. Someone somewhere is going to be so fucking greedy that is going to ruin it for everybody. And like the fact that we know that greedy person exists is what's ruining it for everybody.
What I don't know. Can you give an example of a scenario? Like, how are they ruining it?
Well, so let's take the example of autonomous vehicles, like any like robotic function in a factory, right? The biggest thing people complain about with robots in factories is it's taking away somebody's job. You now have a robot that can perform at 24 hours a day, no pay, no sick leave, no take like breaks and shit like that, right? And even if it does get sick, it's the labor time of swapping it out for a different robot. That is not a problem of the robot. It's the problem of a CEO who doesn't pass along the cost-saving benefits of having a robot take over that job. The fact that people still have to rely on factory work in which the whole process can be autonomized. Like, you can pretty much almost every facet of factory work is hitting a point where it can be all autonomous. The fact that we don't see that, and the companies do it because it cuts costs, it saves costs somewhere.
Nice. But they don't cut the prices.
No one ever sees that anywhere. It all goes to profit. It's all for profit.
They're just adding the machines to make more profit.
Exactly.
To make their goods cheaper.
And people will get fucking let go. Like they will fire people. People will lose their job over robots in factories. And that's because it costs money to cover health and medical benefits for everybody. It costs money when they get sick and you have to put them on leave. It costs money when someone goes on paternity or maternity leave, right?
And this is like I don't know, people probably have an idea of how it could work, but it's like once all of the factories are using machines and nobody's getting paid to make the products, who's going to buy what the machines make?
Exactly, right? Like, so with this whole AI deal, especially in like the use in digital art and digital entertainment, there's the whole deal of when a company like Disney can just AI generate a whole movie. Whether how close we are to that as a reality doesn't matter. That is an ultimate reality that can be reached. And it's like that's happening. People are now out of their creative industries, or they're being pushed out in like traditional 2D. Is like what you're mad about is not the AI. It is some corporate exec at a publishing house or publishing or animation company that decided that this is what we need to do to continue lining our pockets forward. Because people are going to lose their jobs, and like there's no societal I don't want to say it. There's never going to be, the benefits always stops at someone's pocket. Like it never makes its way to a societal benefit. Like the fact that this level of autonomy, things being this autonomous, should be leading to a society in which no one has to work. In which like no one has like the fear of no longer being able to make money because the one thing you trained in for your life is now being taken over by something autonomous is fucked up, because once you lose that, you still need to make some kind of money, because the cost saving benefits of all of this autonomy is never being seen beyond some exec's pocket.
Right.
That's the thing people are mad about, but that's the thing no one really talks about. At least that's how I see it.
I mean, there's another side to it where it's like you don't need to pay money to go see a Disney movie because you have an AI that can make any movie you want.
Which would be awesome. And then you have to contend with the possible legal side of that, because at the end of the day, Disney is going to sue you to fucking oblivion.
Right. They're not.
If you sell it, you can just watch it.
Right up until Disney decides to get somebody in Congress to write a law.
Right.
That makes it, because that's honestly where much of the fucking entertainment bullshit we already deal with without once again, this is why I understand why people are angry about AI. Like, I want to make it clear. I get why people are angry about AI. I just think that there's certain parts in the nuance of it that can be redirected to like the different factions of this. But it's like so much of our copyright law was dictated by Disney already that them stepping in as a multi-billion, if not trillion-dollar corporation could just step the fuck in and do again. And they create the fucking loopholes that allow them to get away with it while penalizing much smaller parties.
Protectionism.
Yeah.
Like, that is why we're dealing with most of the shit we're dealing with now.
Yeah. I think if a company like Disney comes up with something that can do, like create a whole ass movie with AI, I don't think they're going to let any of that technology release to consumers or basically outside of that.
They're going to put their resources towards making sure no one else can do it.
Yeah.
Or at least no one as big as them can do it.
Yeah, but I mean,
like, you brought up the example of, well, if no one would buy a Disney movie because then people could just AI generate their own Disney movies, right?
Right.
Except right up until the point that Disney basically pays for there to now be laws that people can't do that, so that when it does come to light that people are doing it, they just sue them into fucking oblivion.
So they're going to ban personal AI
essentially
software,
or at least for the creation of a Disney quote unquote IP.
Or
not a Disney IP. I'm just saying a movie.
Well, even that, like, just to have that kind of technology that can even do that at that level, that other people be like, yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
I think that's going to be monopolized, taken advantage of by larger companies that aren't going to let people even take advantage of that. Well, at that point,
I see that, but I think there's always going to be open source.
There's always going to be an arms race. Yes. Like, and there's always going to be open, like, yeah, there's always going to be open source.
Everybody's going to have their own proprietary software, but I can make a Disney quality movie with Blender with enough time and resources.
True. Now, if you have AI that can do it for you, you probably could. I guess there's still the other facets of that, of stuff like Disney pushing shit. Because you still got to think of the resource cost that it takes to do AI. Just because AI can kick something out does not mean that people still have access to the, like, think about it. The Sora takes it takes a lot of computing power that the average person is not going to have access to.
You can run Google Colab. You can just use their GPUs. It's like a monthly cost, but you can
ride them until another corporation with billions of dollars buys out and or puts into some kind of legislation that stops that. But
then Google has an entire business based on cloud GPU computing.
You know the crazy thing about businesses?
Yeah.
They only care about getting paid.
So Google cares about getting paid for their cloud.
And guess what? If another $1 billion business can come through and pay you out of it, like buy you out of that, that doesn't really mean shit.
They can shut that down.
And they can shut that down because all they care about is someone paying for it. And even then, the cloud shit, cloud is not an infinite thing. Clearly, we know this. Cloud services are just server warehouses run out somewhere.
Yeah,
like
the environmental impact of those things are actually pretty fucking devastating.
And then you get into the conversation of environmental impact. like it's
like, even it's actually kind of ironic that, like, even like if you look at a movie like the Avatar movies that purport to be about like nature, connectivity, the environmental impact that they have of their rendering, like, alone, is fucking massive. It significantly, you look at, like, it's the actual practical impact that they have is totally separate from what their message. It is totally counter to what their message is overall. Yeah, I personally don't know that there's going to be like a grand monopolization, but like most people look at AI already and think that it's fucking magic. Right.
It's not.
It's not.
It really isn't.
It really isn't. It's a big fucking prediction machine.
Well, there's people that look at video games and still think it's magic.
Well, and it's not just a big prediction machine. Like, I don't know. I hear people say that all the time, but it's like, it's learning. It's not just taking an image and mixing it and spitting it out slightly different. starts to understand concepts and how things work.
So this is the same as the conversation we had 4 episodes ago, 3-4 episodes ago, of this becomes the question of at what point, how granular do you have to get before? I'm reading something in reference of where people are really mad because there's the one side of it of like AI is just like taking something and like just spitting out an amalgamation of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, how is that different than what people already do? When we already know that there's no real like, when you compose a song, it really is a composition of the same like scale of notes and the same like rudiments and the same like melody runs. Well, not melody runs, but like mixed idioms and shit. And like, it's at what point almost everything is just a remixing of another thing. And how granular do you have to get to before the differentiation between what a human does and what AI does is actually still meaningful? And it seems like we're approaching the point in which what AI is doing is kind of the same thing that humans do.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think like when it comes to training the AI systems, like I think it's a lot more, it feels a lot more criminal,
Right.
especially when we were starting to find out about it, or at
Mhm.
least when they were starting to come clean of these companies about like, yeah, we're taking actual, artists'
Right.
work, like legit their
without
work,
their permission, without their fucking knowledge of it.
right, and
Right.
just feeding it through our machines to get them to learn and understand different styles and whatnot. Like that felt criminal, and it is.
Mhm.
But then it's like, okay, put AI aside. What about other people and
If
how they
I scroll
develop their
through-
art style?
If I scroll through ArtStation and I develop my art style by copying people I see on ArtStation, and I kind of develop my art style out of that,
Mhm.
and then I put out my own webcomic or my own fucking 3D art or whatever the fuck have you, and I'm now making money based off an art style that was built on the back of someone else's art style, where is the dividing line here then?
Right.
And what it really comes down to a lot is, and I realize I've completely undercut what I said earlier about us not having a lot to say about AI. But like, I realize the biggest thing that a lot of people are complaining about, and this has been the tried and true like complaint about any new technology, is the ever decreasing level of input needed for what is essentially the same output. That's basically what we're getting at this point. Is
Mhm.
the biggest upset is that it seems like the level of input now is so much less. You don't need a team of people that are coming up. If you can just like, I mean, in the way people believe the technology works right now, or even it may do work this way, of a single sentence prompt can spit you out a fucking 35, 45-second animation that it normally would have taken people like a team of like 15 people to do and like countless man hours. It seems like that's where a lot of the real annoyance comes from for a lot of people. That I don't necessarily disagree with. Like that's the biggest thing about this whole conversation is that I'm not against the people that are against AI, but at the same time I'm not against AI either. I am, and I'm gonna keep hammering this point, is the real annoyance here is the ethical use of it is the problem. Is that it's going to be very hard to ensure the ethical use of this without a lot of people in a lot of high places getting the fuck on board with technology they do not care about, and have never had to care about, is going to make this so much more fucking difficult. Am I advocating for no AI? Of fucking course not. I think AI is a cool thing. I think we've seen applications of AI that was pretty fucking dope that people are not angry at, or like shit like what is the tool called in Photoshop?
Oh,
Generative fill.
yeah.
Generative fill is basically this. Is basically this that isn't ran off of like an internet wide model, right?
Not quite, but
More or less though. It's using a set parameter to create something in a place that it normally didn't exist, right?
yeah, it's just trying to mimic things in the rest of the image, though. It's not so much. Sort of, but not really.
You're about to say exactly what I just explained. I feel
Yeah.
that I said it's not coming from like the mass database that a lot of the AI that's being talked about now comes from. It's a much smaller parameter of input.
I guess it's technically a rudimentary AI, yes.
Right.
Video
I feel like
game.
we're kind of running in circles at this point.
We are. We definitely are.
Yeah. Is there anything else? Because I think we should probably move on from this topic unless there's something else we
Nah.
want to have any final thoughts.
It's gonna be a fucking ongoing ass conversation. Like, let's be real.
Yeah.
In which everybody has kind of staked their claims already. And Lord knows what this shit's gonna look like in a fucking year. So
Let alone 5.
let alone 5. I'm too scared to look 5 years in the future at this point for anything. I think things change too quickly.
What's your exit strategy?
It's going like this.
I just want a house in Italy. I'm going to eat pasta.
You want a house?
In Italy.
In Italy,
In
he
different
said.
country, because in the United States, it's
Right.
not happening.
Yeah.
Have Sora generate that.
If I can get sorted.
If I could get Sora to generate my life in 5 years,
that would save me a lot of time. All right. Yeah, that conversation really is cyclical. There's not really much else to be said about it. Or there is a lot.
There's a lot to be
to
said.
still be said,
there's a lot
but
of
not
stuff
a
said
lot
about
of.
it, but I don't know how much we're going
There's-
to add at the moment.
Yeah,
Right.
Too
we're
much
shelving
more.
it for now, but we'll
Right.
pull it off that shelf in later episodes for sure.
Yeah, it is going to be a topic that comes up more. I can guarantee it.
Absolutely.
Before we get into, actually, do I want to take a break before we continue? I just realized.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah, we'll take a quick break. And finish up with Mahua. We'll call this back. We're gonna finish up with some. Is it all manhwa this week?
No, we got manga this
Oh,
week.
there's more manga. Oh my god, we're staying on the manga train.
It's going right.
This one actually shocks me that it's manga. It looks very manhwa.
It does. Don't it?
And a little bonus. Actually, there's gonna be a manhwa. We're gonna do a little bonus here because me and you have both been reading Please Give Me the Pacifier.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It is. He's a lot further in it than I am.
Caught up.
Are you fully caught up?
Yeah, I'm
I'm
caught
like-
up for almost a week.
I shouldn't be shocked. I'm
Caught
only.
up in the first hour.
Right.
After the, are you, come on.
I know, right? I'm only like chapter 7 in. I'm like 7 chapters.
I
in.
literally,
just
that
haven't
was the night I went to bed and I was like, I'm sick, but I couldn't fall asleep because I was reading it.
That's this has been. It's a really fun read. Like it's actually a pretty interesting read. It took a sec to find like a proper scanlation of it that didn't require me to pay, but once I got one, like it's actually a pretty fun read, and I can't wait to get fully caught up so that me and Fluff can talk about it properly.
Yeah, I read till I think about chapter 45
Mhm.
on the site that I sent you.
Yeah.
And then after that, I paid for it.
Oh, okay.
Because
translations are only up to like episode 79 right now, right?
yeah, that's the max that's out right now. At least on Tapas,
I believe. All right, fair enough.
So
But yeah, so basically, I've started that. I'm actually reading a manhwa.
what do you think about it so far?
I'm enjoying it. Like, I'm actually really. I'm one of them.
I'll get there at some point.
You
Right.
refuse to read your favorite manga in the world. I can't even look at you right now.
Damn.
So
No, I'm rather enjoying it. The plot hasn't like super progressed anywhere. They're still in the phase where they're just like still introducing characters and shit. But I like where it's going so far. But with that out of the way, which one do you want to start with first?
let's start with the one within the villainess.
Let's do it. Oh, this is a short summary too. The one within the villainess.
It should have been me.
Shut the fuck up. In order, God damn it. In order to clear the name of Emmy, a girl who had reincarnated as Remilia, the villainess of an Otome game, the real Remilia who had been. Hold on. What?
It's such a short synopsis, but like
I feel like I had a stroke halfway through it. In order to clear the name of Emmy, a girl who had reincarnated as Remilia, the villainess of an Otome game, the real Remilia, who had been watching all along inside, awakens.
Do you want me to?
Please read it, because I don't know if I'm reading.
No, you're reading it correctly. You just are missing a lot of context that comes from genre and also reading like the first thing.
A lot of. Okay, so the thing I'm having a lot of trouble with here is
Sentence structure.
So with commas.
Mm-hmm.
So if I was to read this the way these commas go, in
Yeah.
order to clear the name of Emmy, the villainess of an Otome game, the real.
In order to clear the name of Emmy, a girl who had reincarnated as Remilia, the villainess of an Otome game, the real Remilia, who had been watching all along inside, awakens.
So it references the subject, but then the
There are
reference
two
gets
souls
referenced
strapped inside
again.
of the same
Yes.
body.
Okay.
Yep, I get it.
It's all about the sentence structure that's throwing us
This
off.
sentence structure is so fucking weird to me.
The reference of the subject of Emmy gets referenced as a
Oh,
subject
don't worry,
again.
It's also kind of confusing when you read it.
Okay, so we're getting the full experience, is what you're saying.
This is gonna
Okay,
be the first one where I'm just gonna screenshot this fucking synopsis and put it up on the video, because I'm gonna need someone else to read this out loud as well. But you know what? I said
To
the words.
fully enjoy this thing, you kind of have to be familiar with some tropes
Mhm.
of the villainess genre, right? Because villainess genres typically kind of vary depending on how subversive they are, and a lot of times, a lot of villainous narratives are, somebody with like a good heart, a really nice person, right, gets reincarnated as the villainess before the game starts, and because they are not like evil person, they're not
Mhm.
like the wrong kind of woman.
Mhm.
The situation in which I say that flippantly, right, very
Right.
glibly, the situation in which the villainess would be like exiled or would lose those relationships or friendships never comes about in the first place, right?
Yeah.
And so, and then there are the villainess stories where the villainess comes in and she's like, I'm gonna use my big dick energy and rule the fucking world. Those are the ones I enjoy, both kinds. I typically prefer the latter, but this is sort of like a subversion of the first one. So the Emmy is reincarnated inside of Remilia, and Remilia ends up taking sort of like getting put into the sunken place
Mhm.
from the Get Out, right?
Oh yeah.
Like, so she ends up kind of having to watch through this, but she also gets access to Emmy's memories
Mhm.
and gets to know about Emmy's deep affection for the character Remilia in the Otome game she was playing. And through this process of like both sort of like living out Emmy's memories of her like the love that she had from her family, and also Emmy's own affection for her as the character of this Otome game, she comes to have a deep affection for Emmy, who then goes through the process of going through this like stereotypical, like, becomes very badass, befriends everybody. And then they get to the point where the Otome game is supposed to start.
Mhm.
And the main character is also a reincarnator and takes everything away.
What's an Otome game?
And basically a dating simulator.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I think there are more specifics, but that come from like the Japanese like genre, but I don't know enough about them because I've never played them.
The most anyone reading it needs to know, or at least associated with it, is it's basically a dating sim game. It's the type of game is probably less important to the story.
Yeah,
itself.
the specific setting of this would be like a Regency romance set in an academy.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So the heroine shows up with a Gunnar, and there are also some tropes that come along with this. Like, so it's a fantasy game, and then there's also like a little bit of like RPG elements that are factored in there as well. And so, but they fail. So Emmy ends up getting the bad ending, basically, despite her best efforts, despite ever her trying, right? And that crushes her.
Mm-hmm.
And then Remilia takes back over.
Oh.
And Now Romelia has to use both her capacity for evil and her deep affection for Emmy and Emmy's way of doing things in order to take back over and create a new good ending for this character.
Okay.
It is really fun to read. It's a very fast paced, so it does not take its time with its story. Because I think they only really probably intend to be maybe 20, 24 chapters. They're on like chapter 18 right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is like 21 in.
Yeah.
Like you're saying,
That's
they're
a quick one.
like ending it soon.
Yeah, the 21 is incorporating like sub chapters, like holiday special or like
Okay.
little things. There have only really been 18 like chapters.
Okay.
And so I'm saying that it feels like they're getting really close to wrapping it up with where they're at right now. But I had a really good time reading it. One, because it was a really interesting subversion of the genre. Two, because the main character is
Hot as all fuck.
Badass. They fucking go and get it. It's really cool. They're great. And it's just really fun. It's a really fun read. I would highly recommend it, especially if you're
It's a very quick one.
genre. This is actually #1 on Manga Dex for the villainess stuff right now. If you just put in the villainess tag in the advanced search, it should be #1 that pops up.
Yeah, I might pop through this. It's a very quick read.
Yeah. It's good.
Nice. That makes it really funny that the next one is also an Otome game.
Yeah.
Before we move on to that one, though, I realized what this sentence was doing. It made a lot more sense. So it's, I don't know what you call it when you put, is it called a predicate? No. What's within the commas in a sentence structure? Whatever the fuck that's called.
Conjunction?
No, that's an apostrophe.
You are asking the wrong person.
I am asking the wrong
English
people.
and
It's
sentence
okay.
structures.
Basically, the way when you're describing like a thing within commas, they're double nesting that right now.
Yeah.
And that's what was throwing me off.
Yeah.
So the sentence without the commas is, in order to clear the name of Emmy, the real Romelia who had been watching all along inside awakens. I could not figure out how that last part of the sentence was supposed to fit in there and what it was tied to.
This is just how I write, so.
I realized why I was reading it so fucking wrong and why it felt so goddamn wrong. And then, okay.
Even still, there is a better way.
Oh, there's a much better way to write this. I'm going to be honest with you. I wasn't listening for like the first 3 minutes of whatever the fuck you were saying because I was rewriting this thing in my head.
Oh my gosh.
I was like straight up rewrite. I was like, you could have written it in this way, whatever the fuck. But no, now that you've described it, that does sound cool as shit. I might actually end up sitting down and reading this if I got time some night. But yeah. There's nothing else. We'll move on to the next one. You can have fun saying this title.
Me? Kenton.
Me? Okay.
Otome Game No Heroine de Sakyo Survival.
What he said.
Sakyo. Alicia, an orphan navigating the realm of Seal with its arcane magic and sharp-edged swords, is startled to find out that she is, in fact, the protagonist of an Otome game.
Nice.
Even the tragic death of her parents was merely a scripted event within the game's narrative.
Damn.
Resolute in her rejection of this preordained heroine role, Alicia dubs herself Aria, embarking on an adventurous journey. Through time, she evolves into the ash-crowned princess of slaughter.
I'm not that far yet.
Hello?
Adept at wielding a range of weapons and harnessing diverse magic spells. Also, I guess, spoiler alert?
I guess. I mean, I'm on like chapter 8, and that hasn't happened yet.
No, this spoiler alert is for you.
I know.
Interesting.
However, when she reluctantly accepts a task to protect a villainess, she unwittingly becomes entwined in the game's elaborate political plots involving noble power struggles. Despite this, Aria asserts her autonomy, declaring, "I am me. I'm not a character in a game." That's factually false.
This description really made up for the lacking in the last
It
one.
really did.
Right.
I mean, we're not at the Ash Crown Princess of Slaughter yet. I'm assuming there's going to be a time slip pretty quickly, but I really liked this one when I started reading it. It hooked me immediately because it looks like, one, there are multiple different competing people who are incarnated into this game, right?
Oh, okay.
And one of them is incarnated like way before the events of the game starts, and they encounter our protag when they're like an adult woman, right? And so the way that this girl is introduced to the fact that she's in a game is this woman trying to implant herself magically into this child's body. She literally tries to kill the heroine to take her place.
Damn.
And in doing so, accidentally transfers the memory and knowledge, but not the rest of like what makes her her, into this kid, who then fucking kills her immediately.
Jesus.
It is like, are you fucking joking? I'm just out here in a fucking orphanage in this world struggling to survive, and you're telling me my purpose is to like go fucking make a reverse harem and date some boys? Fuck that. I'm gonna go do my own shit. I'm gonna take advantage of the knowledge that's been given to me to survive as best as I can.
Nice.
And that's basically where I am. And she's like just started that adventure, and it is really fun. It's really cool to watch. I always love a story where you get to watch somebody be presented with these just the worst fucking odds and how they work to overcome them. I think those stories are always really interesting. And so far it's been a really good read.
Fair enough. Nice.
Yeah, that sounds exciting.
That is another really short one too, or at least currently short.
Yeah.
27 chapters.
27 chapters. You have to factor in though that the like a manga chapter is often a lot slower read.
Oh, true.
So like I would put it at like 10, maybe 15 minutes for a long one. So I think it's probably comparable to about a 60 chapter
manhwa.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Actually, yeah, that's been the weird thing about, or I won't say weird, but like that's been the thing about reading the manhwa is just like everything's like a full panel spread instead of like a single page is like broken up into multiple different panels. And so there's like the pacing is you're moving very quickly through that manhwa story, or at least the manhwa chapter, I'll say.
Oh wait, so are you saying like a panel is a page, basically?
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like I've never sat down and like really counted how many panels are in a manhwa, or at least the ones I've been reading. I would say there's probably like maybe I've been like 12 to 15 pages like per manhwa chapter. But like each one of those pages is just a full picture.
Yeah.
Maybe like one little cut off of like trying to show like a cutaway or something.
If you try to read it on like manga decks without setting up the long strip reading, you can get a much better idea of how many actual chapters are. But
whereas with mangas, it's much more traditional comic, or at least like American comics of like that one page is now like fucking 6 to 8 panels that all have their own dialogue and their own like story going on and shit. It's very interesting. It does make manhwas.
Yeah, manhwas are very specifically designed for digital consumption.
Oh, really? Yeah, nice. It makes a lot of sense once you get into it. Final one, and I.
Joshio Akiyakuri Natsume no Kansatsu Kiryoku.
An observation log of my wife, a self-proclaimed villainess.
Nice.
I pulled this one up because I fucking hate it.
Really?
Let me read the synopsis right quick. Hold on.
Yeah.
The synopsis. We currently do not have a synopsis available for this series. However, our database is continuously being updated, so please check back later for updates.
You can probably click on it and pull up the manga day.
Probably. Let's see.
Don't add it to my dashboard.
Whoops, wrong.
Actually, I don't know if you can do that from here. You think you probably have to add it to your dashboard?
No, I think they just don't have a button for it.
They do. That's right. They don't.
Because all the other one, this one didn't either, actually.
No, because they only have the read first chapter if it's on like Tapas.
Well, either way, there is no synopsis for this one, and Fluff hates it anyway, so we're not going to worry too much about it.
I do. This one, so Like I was saying before, usually you have those kind of like subgenre, those primary categories for the subgenres of villainous story, right?
Mm-hmm.
And whether or not it's about the kindness of the individual and like their diligence and how they sort of like prove themselves, or it's about how they how they fight back against, you know, an unfair and unjust world,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's always a villainous story is almost always about sort of like the power of women and women wielding their power, right, in order to get what they want out of their life. Right. This story is about a prince manipulating a self-proclaimed villainess into being his pretty little wife.
Damn.
It fucking sucks. Literally in the first chapter is like, he's like, we just got married and I always found her so interesting. Even though she's a little bit of an airhead, she's like, I'm a villainess. I always thought that was super cute. And I was like, okay, that's fine. And then she comes in and she's like, oh, your sister just sent me information about the fact that she got engaged.
Yeah.
And they want me to handle the engagement talks. And he's immediately like, you can't do that. You're too dumb for that. You should just focus on setting up the wedding. And she's like, okay. And I was like, I'm not going to keep reading this.
That's fair.
This fucking sucks.
That's
Wait, how
fair.
far in were you?
This is the second chapter.
How do you know there's not like some twist?
I don't. I refuse to go on for dates.
What if
she?
It's called An Observation Log of My Wife, a Self-Proclaimed Villainess. It looks like it is explicitly
It
about
looks
this
like it's
guy.
pretty clear about what it's gonna
What
be
if she?
about.
What if he? What if she like ties him up and puts him in the dungeon, and he still observes her from there?
What if this becomes your number one favorite villainous story?
Well, if somebody else out there has read the whole thing and really just loves misogyny enough to stick through it, you know, you can let me know. But
Well-
I just had to put this out there and say, don't fucking read it.
You don't think they were setting him up to be like a hated character that they?
No, I just, because every once in a while you encounter a series that is sort of like,
Just like that.
This
just
fucking
like that.
this description is just as bad. A sequel to An Observation Log of My Fiance, a self-proclaimed villainess following the married life of Cecil and
Nice.
Bertia. It isn't even the one
I guess nobody cares about it enough to write.
it seems like no one cares about it enough. I was hoping there would be like a
This was
review.
3. This was number 3 on Mega Next.
Really?
Yeah, I had seen it before, which actually doesn't surprise me because one of the
I guess this is 5-star out of 9.
top
1.9
villainous
million.
stories for a long time was explicitly about a man who existed in a matriarchal world, which just lacked any self-reflection on its own messaging and was pretty terrible. But yeah. Instead of being like a subversion and a demonstration of maybe like the evils of the patriarchy in our current world and how really it's just the structures of power are bad for everybody, it's really just kind of like, wouldn't it suck if women were in power?
Is this a sequel?
This is the original one. So I think this is what Fluff read. Crown Prince Cecil was so brilliant that everything in his life was easy to the point of boring him. That's a great way to set up your protag. Then one day, his fiance, Bertha, whatever you want to call her, suddenly said, Prince Cecil, I am a villainess, claiming that this world is the same as the one of an ultimate game from her past life and that she is playing the role of the villainess in it. She aims to play her part well and have their engagement annulled. With that goal in mind, she sets about causing turmoil in Cecil's daily life.
Oh, so she's a headache.
Seems like it. Good manga. It's basically the ice cold prince meets the sun that will melt the ice in his cold heart and give color to his world. I'm not into shoujo, but this is an 8 out of 10 for me. It's a feel good manga with a few bumps.
Weird.
That's a nice way to put it. In the way that they put it in the intro was that he manipulated her entire life so that she never was able to fully be villainous and would eventually become his wife, which also fucking sucks.
Wait, so is this? You said it's the prequel? It's a different one.
So what he read, this is that we were looking at one that's a sequel.
Oh,
So this was popular enough that it ended up getting a sequel.
I see.
It's just weird that yeah, it's just because the translation of the title makes it very difficult to know which one is which.
Weird.
It is, yeah, that's really weird.
Interesting.
Well, one of them is finished completely since like 2021, 22. Well, you know, this was a thing.
No, you're welcome to read it. I won't be mean. You know, I only really like stories about men making women into pets when it's my porn. So
That's fair. I was gonna say, like, there's a story in that. Oh, this is Queen's Blight. That's what this is.
I saw you scroll
I
back
was like,
up
what
there.
the fuck is this?
I was like, yeah, that's Queen's Blade.
It's definitely Queen's Blight. Like, there's a story in like someone getting comeuppance, or like, I don't know. There's a premise there that I can kind of understand in the description. Yeah, no, I saw it. Don't worry, I saw it.
what, that woman with 2 cantaloupes on her chest?
No,
Oh, you were talking about a different one.
is it not what I think it is? Maybe it's not what I think it is.
They're just balloons.
The black and white.
Oh, hey, it is. I bet it is. So random anime radar Izzy got us into watching was Hokkaido. Yeah, Hokkaido girls are like super adorable. Is that what it's called?
Hokkaido gals are super adorable. Yeah. I think
Yeah. Hokkaido girls are super adorable.
Is this a sequel? Or
I
something?
think this is just the original manga.
Yeah.
The title's different.
Well, I mean, yeah,
The original.
things are translated weird ways.
I guess.
And maybe
Tsubasa Nitsuko has just moved from this is the original. In the middle of winter. Yeah, it's just the translation of it from this to whatever the fuck is always weird. But yeah, we started watching this anime called Hokkaido Girls are super adorable, and we started watching it not for any other particular reason than because it's really funny to hear the English dub, because their way of representing that Hokkaido is like this like out of the way, almost kind of country bumpkin
northern.
town, just like super northern town that
Canadian.
goes nowhere, is to have all of the people, or all quote unquote all of the main people who live in Hokkaido have like the heaviest, cheesiest like Canadian accents
When convenient.
when convenient.
When convenient. That's the thing
That's the
throws
best
you
part.
off, because
It's
you
only when
forget about
convenient.
it, and then randomly one line they say, they'll
Yeah.
bring in that accent and then say "a" at the end of the sentence. You're like, where the fuck did that
Right?
come
Like your
from?
MC is just like a normal fucking dude. And then your FemC is the heaviest Canadian / Minnesota accent you've ever heard. And like her mom and sister also have that same Canadian accent. But then there's like almost everyone else in the class. No one else in their classroom has that accent.
No.
To the point that another, like the second FemC is like, not all of us fucking sound like that, you weirdo. And no one else in the town, like if you ever hear like any tertiary character, none of them ever speak with this accent. They just don't have an accent. But this accent is supposed to be the thing of like, this is what the people at the town sound like, but barely not. It's very cute. It's very funny.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the FemC is stacked like fucking Christ. Like
She has a lot of shelf space.
she really do. She really fucking does. She is shaped interestingly. Like that is
I think the purple hair girl is the secret main character. I think she's bisexual as hell and secretly seducing everybody.
Him and Crowley. And then there's the autistic one. They just fucking introduced it. It's like her superpower is being American and autistic.
And the most beautiful girl.
And also the most beautiful girl because she's half American, which is, as always, in a fucking anime, is like a really hard metric to measure. When every main female character looks fucking gorgeous.
Very
right?
similar.
Like she looks she does not look any noticeably different other than she has pink hair.
Right. In the
Compared
face
to other
specifically, it's difficult
Like-
to tell.
She's not the ugly one because she doesn't have freckles.
Yeah.
God, I love freckles. Freckles are so
Freckles are fucking like what are the cutest features a girl can have.
That was the
Yeah, what that is
The-
from a thing. I know what
the-
you're referring to. I
the,
can't think of it.
the
Apothecary,
Apothecary Diaries.
She
Yes.
wore freckles, and the day she didn't wear freckles, she got kidnapped.
Are you serious? Holy shit.
Like, oh, a few spots, she's ugly.
Pretty
Oh,
much.
Skin. Well, yeah, no, skin blemishes is a big thing in Asian, like Western, Eastern beauty standards. So I guess that do make sense.
Damn, I'll take them.
Right? Right. But yeah, so that's Hokkaido Gals. If y'all need something like really silly, it's a really fun anime to watch to riff on when you're watching it with friends. Like it's not something I'm gonna watch like on my own time. I don't care that much, but it's really fun to watch like when we're all like together, just like watching shit.
Something that's good to eat a meal with.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, a really good way to put it. Huh? But yeah. All right. Call it a night. I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
No, anyone have any last minute AI discourse to put out into the world?
Taking it off the shelf for a minute.
Mhm.
AI is gay.
You heard it here first, folks.
They're using synthetic
Wait.
data.
You heard it here first. Fluff believes AI is gay.
Got him.
Does AI is gay?
Gay AI is.
AI is.
A rumor has come out about it's gay.
Much has been talked about in the rumor mills, such as pertaining about his gay. Oh man!
Thank
All right.
y'all for listening and tuning in.
Always like, subscribe, catch us on Spotify. Obviously, look us up on our social media. I don't actually plug that as often as we should. I feel like we don't, but
Yeah.
it's not like there's much going on there anyway. But
Well, I don't know.
It's getting
You
up
say
there.
that, but
it's starting to.
we just kind of started to put
We're
stuff
starting
up.
to. We're
Yeah.
starting to. Go check those links down in the description. We're putting stuff up. So
Yeah.
yeah, thanks for watching. We'll see y'all next week. Hopefully, we'll all be a lot less sick than we are right now.
Impossible.
No.
Yeah.
Stay gay.
Yeah.
Bye.
Peace. Episode 13.
Facebook
Facebook.
bullshit.
Face bar.
Back.
Break.